Last we left our heroes, you were in the midst of enacting your relic heist deep beneath the waves of Seafarer's End. With the ravenous maw distracted by its devout marrow worshippers, half of your party began scouting the lair of the beast, this semi-destroyed cathedral, while the others watched and waited in shadow. Though the Kraken was away, you found the lair still occupied by the Kraken child and other deep-sea denizens. Gauging that this wasn't going to go down without a fight, or some other distraction, Mary called out to Valentine and Alana, informing them that perhaps they make their way to the lair as well. With that, Hondo began making his way stealthily inside, and Valentine dimension-doored alongside Gord and Mary on the outskirts of the cathedral, while Alana and Keith attempted to do the same. Unfortunately, with no clear idea of where to teleport to, and never having used the spell, things went a little awry. Appearing inside the cathedral wall, Alana and Keith were shunted into the island of the young Kraken, wrapped up by it, and things got interesting. As Alana attempted to soothe the beast, and was successful for a time, you all began to make your way inside and search the treasures of the lair, seeking the Hammer of Cord, Stormbreaker. At the heart of the lair, you pushed into the clutch of Kraken eggs and found your prize, but the youngling saw through the act and alerted the maw herself by throwing Gord through the water into an old bell that rang loud and clear through the seas and was soon followed up by the roar of the ancient beast. The search now turned frantic. You had only a few moments before the maw would be atop you, and in that time, Mary and Hondo worked together to pry the hammer free and successfully hold it aloft. With one relic found and wielded by a worthy successor in Alana's hands, the thought of running now crossed your minds, but getting close enough to try was a challenge unto itself, and too quickly the Kraken arrived. Descending upon you all, massive tentacles reached out and ensnared you, striking fear into your hearts. Despite the horrid circumstances, Mary and Hondo both knew they couldn't come so close and leave one relic behind, and both elected to dive within the belly of the beast in search of the Belt of the Tempest. Hondo dove in first, but was sadly unsuccessful in his pursuit, as the deadly acid of the Kraken's stomach knocked our fearless rogue. Mary, with the same plan, followed Hondo, and likewise found the acid to be near deadly. However, before it could knock her out, she managed to get a hand on Hondo and found the belt, still wrapped around the skeletal waist of a fallen hero. She did all she could, but could not free both before the acid knocked her out. It looked grim, and the death of two wildcards seemed imminent, if not for the power of heroes who you have come to embody. The armor of the Valkyrie, finding its exalted form, inspired by Mary's acts of bravery, sent the spirits of the Valkyrie who had fallen before to surround her, buffeting back the acid, and just enough to spare Mary and allow her to dimension door out of the beast with Hondo and the belt. Finally, relics in hand, all parties accounted for, Valentine, at last, teleported the wildcards to Arendelle, specifically the College of Whitethorn. We begin today as you drenched, bloodied, but relics in hand, land hard on the floor of the teleportation circle in the upper wing of the college. Arcane dust and light fades where the conjuration magic ceases. There's a moment that passes where you just hear heavy breath and the dripping of water pounding in your ears, and you readjust to the lack of pressure from not being at the bottom of the sea floor. You hear hurried footsteps approaching the door to this room that is otherwise now fading into faint darkness.
Just like coughing up all the water that was previously in our lungs.
Are we dead?
Oh,
God.
Did
you get the belt thing?
You hear a set of keys jingling in the lock, and the door swings inward, and you see just a spill of light that temporarily blinds you from this like momentary darkness, and you see a silhouetted male figure in robes. As he moves into the room, you recognize Arthur Locke, one of the archmages of the tower, looking across you all, bewildered and like seemingly rushing in. You can see, the familiar signs of like a wizard about to like jump into combat with something that just randomly attacked his tower, and then seeing you all is just totally taken aback and it's just kind of sputtering.
Hey, Arthur.
But this is certainly not what I expected. Here, allow me to help you up. And he just kind of reaches over and tries to pull you to your feet.
Oh, thanks.
He just like begins kind of casting prestidigitation to like take away the salt water and just kind of alleviate the clothes of various acids and blood and other things.
We're all alive, right? Everyone's alive. I'm just like laying on my back.
You look
staring at
over.
the ceiling.
Arthur, as he's casting prestidigitation, kind of points and says, "I believe Hondo is unconscious." Yeah. Continues.
It looks like he passed out again.
Prestidigitating.
Someone wanna heal him? Someone get him up.
Yeah,
Got a
I'll just
potion.
no, save it. I'll crawl over and I'll just cure wounds on him. Just like touch him. Little magical pink energy. What do I got though? What spells do I got?
You certainly have a first. There's no shot you don't have a first level spell. Just make a straight charisma check for me.
Got it. Ooh, 15 plus 5 is 20.
Cool. You reach over, you cast Cure Wounds on Hondo.
It kills him. 10. I'll write it in the chat. And I'll keep.
Hondo will heal for 10 and just kind of roll over. As Arthur finishes kind of prestidigitating and clearing off acid, blood, and the accumulated water from the deep, he looks across you and says, "Where the fuck have you been?"
You don't even want to know, but we'll tell you all about it in 1 second. I'll turn to Brawley and Mary and do we get it? Do we get them?
This thing? I'll just.
You hold aloft the hammer, and you see this massive like hammer head of this black metal. In the center of it, through on both sides of the hammer, you see this like almost long, jagged, like purple kind of crystal that is faintly kind of like pulsating and blasting with like electricity. And you can see like deep score marks across the face of the hammer that looks like it has just been like superheated and like cracked across, but is seemingly fully whole. It looks pretty awesome and seems to be the hammer you were seeking.
That looks like it's the one.
Oh, and I forgot, I have this too.
Oh my god, you got the other one.
Mary put it. Isn't it cool?
What
What does this fucking one look like?
This one looks decidedly less cool, but is powerful in its own right. It's a thick belt that you like a thick leather belt that, despite having been within the Kraken's stomach for however long it's been there, looks pristine. Especially seeing as Arthur has kind of gotten rid of any of the stuff that would have sat on top of it with the acid and stuff. But the metal of the belt buckle and like there's like some gilding across it. It's all immaculate. But the face of the kind of belt buckle that sits right in the center, you can see the dual lightning bolts that kind of crisscross across the middle, and see the familiar symbol of cord. And more or less, that is the only marking that this is anything more than just a thicker belt. But you can still feel the presence of magic in it. Valentine and Gord, the two of you being, the primary casters, you guys can kind of feel almost like a hum, a vibration of magic from both of these, like highly concentrated.
Ragnar's relics. Can I just say, 1, I can't believe we did this, but 2, Hondo, what is your obsession with going inside huge monsters? It's fucking crazy, man.
I like
You
to
voluntarily
get to the heart.
walked in.
I'm a man of heart, so I want to get to the heart of the matter.
God. And then Mary, you fucking teleport in? My God.
Oh, I teleported out. I kind of had to get in the old-fashioned way. I have not got up yet.
Hondo, by the way, I healed you 10. You're alive.
I appreciate it.
Arthur, we were just relic hunting, and we just fought the Kraken. A couple Krakens. But the big one, the one you've heard about, we fought that one.
Fought is not the correct word.
We got our
fucked
asses handed to
around
us.
until we got what we needed to, and then we bailed fairly
More
quickly.
accurately, you stole from the Kraken.
Yep, absolutely. That is what happened.
Yeah.
Also kind of murdered its eggs. That's going to come back to bite us in the ass.
I was about to say, well, that is a beautiful plan. And then you said that part, and
That part was not on purpose.
very far away.
I say, let it come after us. I'm ready for a fight. I'm ready to fight it.
God.
It's got nothing
Hopefully-
on us. It's
But dude,
layers
you're just-
below water. Not above water, it's useless. Might as well be.
Reddit can walk on land.
I'd like to
Maybe
not
keep
think about
yourselves
that
from the
thing for the
shoreline
next.
for a while.
A seal can walk on land. You don't see me going, ooh, a seal.
Me. I can't even wrap my head around this insanity. I am never going on the ocean ever again, is what it comes down to.
I'd say that's wise.
What time of day
How are
is it?
things
Oh, I guess
here?
we don't know.
You can ask Arthur. But as Valentine, you ask, how are things here? He's still kind of shocked, obviously. He's still looking over you and kind of shakes his head. Still, you catch his eyes keep returning to Alana with both these relics. Just out of Mary, you can insightfully gather, not in a greed or avarice kind of way, but in just a pure, like, these are amazing relics and I'm a wizard and want to, like, learn, and, like, there's crazy magic right there, and I'm just, like, keep, like, looking as, like, there's a TV on and I gotta see what's going on it. But he kind of focuses back on Valentine for a second and says, well, it's late in the day. Actually, it's evening. But I'm not sure how familiar you've been with kind of the political goings on between Haverfeld and Arendelle, but things have been a great success. There's quite revelry in the streets to honor a new unification between the Redmanes and the Delarians. There's going to be an embassy built in the city on both sides. An official alliance has been struck between the Redmanes and the Delarians. And actually, in terms of our commitment, we're going to be creating a Whitethorn College annex in Haverfeld. And we will be currently in the process of figuring out who's going to head that up. And it is wise of you to have seen that it's worthwhile to see more than one head of Whitethorn College. We can now split ourselves across and send one of us on to Haverfeld, and the other will remain here. And we're in discussion of potentially extending another college down south, either Verdansia or further within south of the Vale, once things wrap up down there.
That absolutely makes me sit up. Holy shit. That's a big deal,
fucking
right?
cool.
Looking around. Isn't
so
Hammerfeld and Hammerstock is like super anti-arcane magic, right? That's a big fucking deal.
It was. I think I was not privy to these discussions until the end, but privy to the initial discussions. But from what I gather and from what I've been informed by the king, you played a great role in assuring the confidences in this alliance and in the necessary protections of unification. When Raymond struck out at that city, they were woefully unprepared. And had it not been for your involvement, surely would have been more devastating. If there's a chance that we, unified, can take a better stance on any further threats of these kinds, it was all the information they needed to hear. Miss Baldora seemed to truly believe in you, in your presence, and that gave us a leg in to bring what we can to the table.
Yeah, she's pretty
It was
cool,
like a
isn't
lifetime
she?
ago.
I hope to meet her one day, whether I'm a part of the annex in Haverfeld, or it seems Eli has taken a kindness to wanting to establish a new presence in a new place. I perhaps my lead here. And Aurora has taken the idea of potentially venturing south, but that is still well in discussion, still to be decided.
If you ever need a reference, let me know. I can give a call to Eldora. We're on pretty good terms.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind. It's always good to have friends in high places.
Don't try and drink with her though, because she will just drink you right under the table.
I mean, I'll definitely try.
No, I'm saying, watch it.
Could be a fun challenge.
Just make sure someone else is there to pick you up off the floor. And I hold my hand out to Alana for her to help me up.
That's what unseen servants are for.
I don't know about you guys, but I could use a rest for at least 5 days or so. Oh,
it is quite late. I suppose you have your own place to sleep in the city.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to our house. Or I guess we could sleep in Mary's decrepit 1-bedroom basement shack thing.
They fixed the roof. It's not caving in anymore.
The smell's still there.
It's not that bad. Lavender kind of made it smell better. I guess that doesn't last out. We need to go to sleep.
Arthur, I think the thing I was most shocked at is Lavender didn't ruin the alliance. She didn't, I don't even know, explode a fireball during the council meeting or something like that.
At least not that I'm aware of.
It's good to know.
She has maintained her presence in Haverfeld for the time. She took some books from here without asking, of course. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a problem as long as we can get them back and she doesn't tamper with them or destroy them.
You may want to check the margins for doodles.
Yeah, that's...
I can actually get rid of those. That's not a problem.
Okay, good. Because there's going to be a lot.
But no, she has...
If you see anything with Hondo in it, just turn the page.
Don't even look. Yeah, just whoosh, right past.
I want to look. Extra long time.
She's found her muse, I see. Of course, please go and get your rest. I will say, though, perhaps it would be wise, and with your permission, I would send a message to the king, I'm sure with your presence back in the city, who would like to speak with you.
Sure.
Just as I'm not sure he has any business. I would imagine he does. I know there was some business in the Vale of late. I don't know. Pressing matters my mind has been elsewhere. But I know it has been a topic of discussion that has briefly passed over, and I'm sure your presence back in here, at least exchanging notes, would probably be wise. And he'd be more than happy to have you in his company.
Why don't we do that tomorrow morning? Let's not wake him.
No. If you permit me, I'll leave a message with the king, and a message will come to your keep in the morning.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
Maybe like a later morning.
Yeah, like noon. Thanks for letting us...
A brunch.
A brunch is great, yeah. Thanks for letting us just show up here. It's kind of rude to burst in like this, especially stocking wet.
A little bit of notice is always appreciated, but given the fact that this was the deal that we had taken with you expunging the protections
remains
of this tower and returning it to our hands, you're more than welcome anytime. However, if you can give us any heads up, then it would be appreciated. But if not, I understand the life of adventure.
It's also literally the ability for us to give a heads up. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah, we're not good at that. But we'll try.
Something that can be remedied over time.
All right, let's get our old bones out of here. Hey guys, remember when we got trapped in a hallway here for like 5 hours? That was funny. Good times.
Good times. Well, this is a fun new trick, and he leads you out of the room and taps his wand or his staff, against the door that would lead down into the residences. And he kind of taps it 3 times, opens it, and you just see the main entryway off into the down into through the courtyard of the Whitethorn Hall. He says,
Just like
"We're still learning some of the tricks, but this is a pretty easy one."
clap him on the shoulder as we immediately going through. Just being like, maybe one day when we're not all 2 doors close to death, give us a real tour.
I'd love to. But for now, please, get your rest.
Yeah, just a weak leg and just staggering. Just slowly walking. I gotta get Fern back. I really left him out to dry, or left him out to wet, I guess, there. Jesus, we did not have a good time down there.
Wait, can you tell if anything happened to him?
I kind of...
Your telepathic connection would, at this, you're so far away.
Yeah.
There'd be no way.
But during the fight, if something would have happened,
I didn't feel him. He didn't message me that he got hurt or anything. Yeah, he was so low in HP. I hope he just vanished to the Feywild after trying to make a run for it.
Regardless, no matter whether he survived or not, you'll have to recast to bring him back unless you want to wait 2 weeks for him to make his way back.
No. No, that'd be so cruel. All right, pal, come on back. It's northwest. All right, let's walk home. Maybe we can get is there a late night carriage we could grab?
There actually would be carriages that you could rent in this
grab a
area,
taxi.
But the hour has grown a little late and they are not currently running. But you do hear sounds of revelry in the area. You get some pubs and taverns and inns. You can hear faint music and still hear the sounds of people kind of not like a raucous party. You're in an upper end area of town, but it's late and there are people still out kind of celebrating. It seems that revelry of unification is kind of continuing. And not long, and especially with your flying carpet and other means of travel, it doesn't take super long for you guys to get home. And I mean, even just to walk for the time after spending a full day of basically full 2 days underwater, it's just kind of a weird experience just to kind of get back into just walking and feeling gravity and its proper pull. But you return to your keep and your staff have the keep is smelling lovely. Just still kind of this faint still some scent of deep winter's day still just kind of lingering. The decorations are still up, but you have no real time to take them in as you just crash and immediately everyone falls asleep. Unless there's anything.
I would say that after getting back to the keep and just laying in bed and staring at the ceiling, after an hour of not falling asleep, because the silence of the keep, all Mary can hear is the deafening silence of staring up at a kraken for 3 hours of watch, knowing that if she moved an inch, she would kill all her friends. And after an hour, she'd probably say fuck it and need to just I'll use Mira if I have to, but go find a rooftop to sit on somewhere just to sit in the city and hear noise and things and people. Actually, probably even just that point that Alexander took her to, because that oversees a lot of stuff. But just needs noise, needs something, because she can't.
You'd have to summon Mira.
Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
A fair amount of time and still get good rest, because where you want to go back is almost back to where you guys just were. But a interesting element of your exalted armor, Mira doesn't go away. Mira now remains, provided that she doesn't die.
If she dies, does she come back?
Yeah, it's a familiar or a steed.
Thank God.
A fine greater steed.
So then it's once a day that you have to call them back. So I'd have to wait till the next day to call her back. Okay.
No, I mean when she does, when she does die or whenever you dismiss her, it's now you get 1 cast per day essentially. So you need to recharge it with a rest. But if she is still alive, then she can just sleep and do her thing.
I'll take 10 minutes and just get Fern back before bed
Easy
and
enough.
be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
There's no ill will. It's just a sorrowful expression, but not at like what's happened to him, just at what happened to you. It's like an empathetic apology. But you can see too, like in his eyes, there's just this faint element that's not his eyes. They look a little different. Not, it doesn't look like the Kraken's eyes, or it doesn't look like flaring fires or anything like that. They're just a little bit different. You just catch it.
You feeling okay, pal?
He just nuzzles in.
Okay. Yeah, is Keith still bit, Keith?
At this point, after the battle, and then after like the time it would take to come back, you rolled a 4. I think you'd have him basically for like another hour as a baby.
I will pick up the wee baby Keith and just, you ready to go to bed? You okay? I guess I should give him a potion, eh?
I can
Or I
heal
guess
him.
if
I can heal him.
He'll
Or we're going to sleep.
He'll just sleep and fully
Okay.
heal with a rest, same as you guys.
It's a good little Pokemon.
As you settle into sleep, is there anything else you guys want to do before taking your rest?
I just like the idea of probably nuzzling him, and then at some point he just goes big again.
There's going to be an
So you're
hour
just
where you
still
just hear
asleep.
Brawley just get thrown off her bed as Keith just expands.
She won't realize it either, so she's just gonna. She thinks it's
Yeah.
longer. She forgot, so she'll hold her little pocket monster.
I think I'll just have a moment too, just thinking about how close we were to death there. Just falling asleep, maybe tighten my hand on Aetherius, and like maybe just bring him into bed with me and put him next to me. Look at Fern again, and then just like go to sleep. Just maybe like look out the window.
Fern nuzzles in with you for sleep as well. Gord, are you sleeping, or do you just sit quietly?
I'll
In your
sleep.
trance.
Hondo, any
What the
last
hell?
things? Yes. Any last things from Hondo, or do you crash as well?
Yeah, I'll sleep.
Oh no, fucking shadow boxes in the next 5 hours.
I'll
Well,
wake
until
up early.
sunrise. Yeah. You all sleep, go to sleep, and though you do, Valentine and Gord and Hondo definitely, you do hear the sounds of someone shuffling out of the house, leaving, not particularly quietly, but you have staff. It's not odd, but you do catch the sounds of Mary taking her leave, and you probably would catch her coming back several hours later, but you don't know exactly it's Mary. You just do as your player, as your people, you guys know that. But as you sleep, Elena, in your sleep, in your dreams, it's just completely out. You're just totally knocked out for the majority of your rest. As you just go from taking one of the hardest beatings you've had in quite some time, but with this kind of connection that you forged with Stormbreaker immediately, and this not yet fully forged connection with the Belt of the Tempest, but just its straight proximity, and both of those kind of combining, there's this different energy to your room and to your rest, that though it's restful, your night's rest, in your dreams, there's just this low rolling storm, as if you're sitting on the rocky plinth overlooking Hammerstock, where you and Baldora overlooked the city many nights ago. And you're just sitting with your legs dangling over the edge of the rock and just watching this storm just roll over. There's no cause for concern. It's actually a little bit exhilarating, and you see and you feel the rumble of thunder, and you watch as lightning kind of illuminate the sky. And with each bolt that strikes, just off in the distance, you feel this like adrenaline surge, this push. And you look up into the sky, and you watch as the clouds begin to kind of swirl and form, and you see a large hand kind of extend down towards you and put its hand out as if at your feet, as if for you to stand on them. What do you do?
I'll stand on it. I'll walk forward.
You rise and kind of tentatively put your boots down on this basically cloud hand, this massive hand. And as you do, you feel that kind of surge of lightning kind of rolls down the arm of cloud and up through you. And it doesn't hurt at all. It feels exhilarating, like that same adrenaline surge you feel in battle. And it pulls you up into the cloud, into the storm itself. And as you rise up into the storm, you see the storm take form. And you see a figure, masculine in shape, but still storm and cloud and elemental in nature. And there's no immediate command or communication, but just in the storm itself, a rolling, thunderous just sound, as if the element and you are kind of just staring each other down and searching for something within. And finally, after a long moment, as you're just kind of standing within the storm, you just hear within your mind, "So you shall be the one to wield Stormbreaker and the belt of the Tempest. You will be my new storm avatar. This is a large responsibility. This is the ability to stand above your enemies in battle, to find mercy when need be, but strike hard when most needed. Is this a responsibility that you can live up to?"
Absolutely. I won't let you down.
Understood. You showed great heart in battle with a terrible foe. I look forward to seeing what you can do in Ragnar's stead. Live up to his memory. For you are the new Stormborn. Fight well. And it's just lightning cracks across the sky. And at this point, your eyes shoot awake, and you can feel like this kind of electric charge in the room as you look over and you see the belt is kind of faintly crackling, and you can see the hammer also faintly crackling. And then you are thrown by Keith. And you are thrown hard into the side of the wall. And it kind of breaks the coolness of the moment ever so slightly. Your bed cracks under Keith's weight suddenly.
Oh, it's Alana style. That was perfect.
As you look across Keith and your newfound relics and your newfound purpose, you, if you so choose, attune to the Belt of the Tempest and to Stormbreaker.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So cool. Alana Stormborn.
Stormborn.
Brawley Stormborn.
Valentine.
Oh no.
You as well crash hard to sleep. A for the briefest moments, a little unsettled with this brief flash you catch in Fern, and then unsettled at the thought of what it is you just kind of survived. The pressure, the mantle put upon you to be the escape route, to be the final piece needed to save your friends, and by extension, save the realms. You finally do settle into rest. And in your rest, it's not entirely peaceful, but it's not nightmarish. You've had nightmares before. This is not that. What you feel is confusion and a faint sense of loss, and you're not sure why. You see flashes. You don't see a direct kind of imagery or no one speaks to you in this dream, but you can feel a presence that's not yours. You can see the Summer Queen's court. You see her throne and her sitting atop her throne. And she looks as gorgeous as ever, though wistfully staring off into the distance. You can see a look on her face of distraction. It's probably the best way you could put it. Her focus is not crystal, and she kind of idly holds something in her hands. And you can see, as she's kind of staring off in the distance, a flash, and then a flash, and then a flash of deep water. You see a flash of that kraken, and you see, almost from third person, yourself and the kraken looming over top of you and your friends. As if you took a snapshot of that final moment. That moment where you remember now. Your friends may not have caught this. You fell. You were unconscious. You failed in that last moment. You don't know what could have happened. But you felt that light in that moment come to your aid and push you forward to do what you needed to do. And as that moment, that snapshot in time flickers, you see like burning, searing light, like staring directly into a summer sun. And you see again a flash of the Summer Queen and a look on her face of heartbreak. And you look down in her hand and see a rose she has picked the petals from down to one. And they're just kind of scattered across her throne. And as she looks kind of from this off distance and then kind of directly into you, into the viewer, it flashes again and you see a forest burning. You see a great massive tree, the heart of the world, flicker and crackle and burn. You see Gallifrey, the tree of the Everlight. You can see around that kind of perpetual light that surrounds it. You see smoke bearing down and fighting this bubble of light. And you can see cracks are breaking their way through. And the smoke is faintly seeping through. And the light just faintly flickers. And it flashes back to the Summer Queen once more. And you can see she's sweating. She looks about, scoops up the petals and reforms in her hand immediately a perfect rose and just cradles it close. And as you wake up in the morning, you find you woke up and you are drenched in sweat, like you were sitting in the heat of hell itself. Before you wake up, Gord, in your rest, you elected to sleep this night after a harrowing adventure, a newfound connection to the Raven Queen that you've not fully exercised, but in that last battle, her connection, her power, empowering you, you felt so much better in your use of your power than you did any time from when it was from Orcus. There was always a conflicting battle between what you wanted to do with your magic and your power and what Orcus wanted you to do. And even when they did align, it didn't feel right. This feels better. This feels just overall healthier. And as you finally have accepted that and you rest. In your rest, you don't see a vision. You don't see or hear anything. But you feel, as you awake, this displacement, like a great loss. And this connection with you and the Raven Queen, this connection of your vengeful soul, you feel a connection to the flow of life that kind of surrounds all of Vesaria, that surrounds every creature. There's an element of life that flows through every living thing. And you feel as if hundreds of those threads of life have been severed and burned. You feel a great wash of sorrow and anguish. And through your rest, you feel those shadows wrap around you in a cool embrace. And that cold seeps into your skin and bone and heart. And that loss sits with you in your heart. And you can feel something has shifted in the world. Not here, not even in Seafarer's End, or your keep. Something old, something that has endured, has fallen. You all awake. You can all do your long rest. Make sure you get all your health and your spell slots.
What are you doing to us? What the fuck's happening? God, long rest. Confirm.
Everyone gets spell slots back, all your abilities. Alana, you can officially attune now to Stormbreaker and Belt of the Tempest.
Yay!
And keeping in, the Belt of the Tempest is its base level. Just so still has two abilities to awaken and then exalt. Currently, it doesn't give you any boost. It can boost your strength up to 21, which it does, but you already was a 20, so no boost there. However, you are granted resistance to lightning and thunder damage perpetually, whether raging or not. You have resistance. Okay. And then as an action, you can become the Storm Avatar for 1 minute and gain the following benefits of immunity to thunder and lightning damage, the ability to replace one of your attacks with lightning bolts, and obviously with Stormbreaker, as seen in the last fight, you can throw Stormbreaker like a Dwarven thrower, and also on a critical hit deals a little extra thunder damage, and if you so choose, you can call lightning, as in the spell, summon a storm to your aid. Okay. Lots of cool storm shit.
Yeah.
And if you wield with...
What's that?
Say again?
It was like a quarter, half Stormborn.
All right.
Could be.
Because you can make a fog cloud?
Definitely.
Yeah. And if you wield it with both hands, don't you do 1d10 instead of 1d8? I think it has versatile.
If yes, you can. It is a one-handed hammer, but I think it's versatile as a war hammer. But that doesn't change anything if it's thrown.
Gotcha.
Its thrown attack is always going to be a D8, but it deals extra damage when they're a larger creature.
Okay. Just have to look at all of my notes from the Feywild. Now I have to type something.
So I'm no longer attuned to my boots of striding and springing. So now I won't be as fast.
Actually, you are still faster than... you're still at 35 speed from your barbarian class. Your barbarian class gives you a boost of speed, so you have a 35 speed regardless.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so you're actually faster than most of your other friends, actually.
Well then. Cool.
Except Mary and Hondo can dash as a bonus action, boost their speed. But yeah, you've got decent speed. Your barbarian fury pushes you forward.
Cool. Oh, I can't wait to use that again. That was so much fun.
But as you're all awake, your keep is yours. The day is yours. A little late in the day, you find as you awaken and look outside, it is still heavily snowing, as it is now getting deeper and deeper into deep winter. And an element of timekeeping that your characters would know that you guys probably don't know because you don't live in this world. It is, I'm just pulling up my calendar.
The 39th.
It's close. I believe it is the 7th of Hamatil. You guys are due back in Cania to meet with Mephistopheles on the 9th. So it is actually now the 8th of Hamatil, so you're due back in Hell tomorrow. The next full moon is the 26th.
9th, we're due in Cania, 26th full moon.
So today is the 8th now, as you return from the battle late in the evening on the 7th, rested, awaken on the 8th, and return to Cania tomorrow. There was no particular time, it's just tomorrow at some point. So you could do that whenever, you should do that at some point tomorrow. But in theory, you don't have to.
How did everyone sleep?
Really good. How was your sleep?
Really bad.
Oh, that's not good. What happened?
I kept having this dream of the Summer Queen. She looked concerned and distracted. She was plucking this rose. There was one petal left. I had these flashes of Gallifrey, that tree in the Vale that took us to the Feywild. And I remember Hondo went crazy and just ran straight through those brambles into. I had this image of it burning. And I think she was trying to protect it. There was a golden sphere around it. Smoke was trying to get in. But yeah, I just had this image of one of these beacon trees burning.
Maybe something's up. Did you want to check in with her?
Didn't Arthur say something about the veil that the king wanted to talk to us about? I definitely want to check in, but maybe we should hit up the king first.
You alluded to the fact that there was some information. You obviously there's been constant communication with Francis and basically trying to do a similar idea with the veil as they were doing with Haverfeld. So Arthur was not sure what it was, but he was under the impression that there was news. It seemed like there, imagine hearing someone mentioned the veil in passing, and he just kind of took that as oh, okay, well, someone's talking about something. You guys are new in town or back in town. There's probably something. He just kind of said.
Did anyone else have any dreams? Oh, Rosie's having a dream. It's so cute.
Fern's not woken up yet, just sitting there dreaming.
A little bark in her sleep. Hondo, you have a dream? Anything of relevance?
I don't have time for dreams.
I mean, you had a dream of the sea on fire. It set us out on this whole quest to the Kraken.
Yeah, I know, but that was a one-time thing. I'm too busy, boxing in my time.
Hondo does have his morning sheen from his shadow boxing.
Jesus. Are you just always moist and perspiring like this? My God.
That's how I say
Gord,
slippery.
Oh, God. Gord, did you have any dreams?
I don't dream.
What was it? Oh, you say I don't dream?
Yeah.
To be fair, I think this is not the first time that he's claimed that he doesn't dream. I think we had a whole conversation about it like 40 games ago. I don't remember.
Okay. Why don't we go have some brunch, eat here with the staff, and then maybe go hit up the king, see if we can get some more info. Brawley, do you want to send a sending stone to your sister? And then maybe just tell Lav we might still be questing, but we can keep her in the loop.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So then I'll take it out and
walk duck here.
What do you say to Baldora?
You got 25 words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sending
okay.
a 25
Tell me
word
I'm bad
message.
at this.
The pure silence is great. I just picture you taking it out, holding the button.
Yeah. Guys, what should I say?
Say, hey, how you doing?
Hey, sissy,
Oh, okay, cool.
miss you. Wait, no, um's not a word.
All of that's going to count, by the way.
That's still recording.
Should I ask her to call me back? Like, call us back?
I think that's working too. Say, we're good.
We are good.
Lav, chill, not ready yet. Still questing.
Lav, chill, still questing. Love you. Bye-bye. 25.
Pretty good.
It's 25.
Pretty good. You were great at that.
Valentine, is this the King of Arendelle we're talking about?
Yeah, Malcolm Delarian, the one that you and Lav were trying to have.
That bastard owes us a ton of
What?
Money?
He owes us because he led us into
Rebuffed his
that
sexual
whole...
advances?
He led us all into that Raymond bullshit. And now he owes us for the cost that it's brought upon us.
So you're going to come in hot, weeks after our encounters with Raymond, demanding payment? He gave us a fucking house.
What am I going to do with the house when I'm 20,000 miles away?
Where are you going?
The goal is after we're done all this, we can just hang out here.
I mean, it's a good point, yes, but coin
buy
is
you
a
out.
lot more useful.
Yeah, I'll buy you out of the house. No problem. Once we finish this.
No. We talk to this guy. We get some coin. Or let's just say I can be a pretty unwelcome house guest.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times. I've lived with you for the last year. I feel like threatening the king in his own kingdom, in his castle, surrounded by his guards and his wizard advisors, maybe not your best bet. But here's the thing. If you wanted to be specific, I bet he'd help you out. Not just like, hey, give me some gold. But if you were like, hey, I need my own private navy, I want to be a commodore, I think he could be, maybe he'd be okay with that.
Well, I could, we want the body of the Kraken, so maybe we could work something out.
It's not dead, and I certainly do
That's
not
his
want
problem.
the body of the
He's
Kraken.
going to bring the dead Kraken to us.
What do you want after all the gold, Hondo? That's what I want to know. Like, what comes after the gold? What's your goal?
I'll tell you when I get the
What's your
gold.
dream? God. Do you want to own a brothel? Hondo's School of Fish? That's pretty cool. Plenty of fish. That could be a brothel.
Plenty of fish.
Let's go see him. And I usually say best behavior, but I can tell this is already gonna be a shit show. So let's just skip past the
We'll
pleasantries.
play cool. We'll play cool.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys
Let's make our way.
with
yeah.
or not.
I go great. God.
It is a brisk, cool morning, mid-afternoon, as you guys get your kind of brunch day set off. It's still a decent walk, but it's nice. And after a night's rest and feeling rejuvenated, it's not so bad. You make your way to Whitethorn Hall, and as before, you are recognized and not harried by any of the guards, though they do provide like a proper, like, they lead you into the keep. They don't let you just walk in on your own. They provide a guide in, and you have to wait for a couple of minutes. And after 5-10 minutes, not super long, you are met by like a steward who kind of leads you through the throne room, past the larger council meeting room, and into this kind of off room that you've not been in before. And this steward just kind of like opens the door and announces that the Wildcards are here. And as you enter into a relatively smaller room, you see that there are no windows in this room, which is kind of immediately a little bit off-putting. And it's kind of a step down. And it's most reminiscent of what you would expect to be like a war room. You can see this large table in the middle. You can see multiple different maps are set out in the table as you go down these sets of steps. And it's a little bit sunken down and of heavy stone work and stone floor. You can see shelves on the walls of books and like thick, large, like Atlas style books. And you can see kind of weapons are scattered about the place. And it's dimly lit by torchlight, and within, standing around this table and sat at the far end where this is kind of hearth and kind of a sitting area, you recognize Malcolm Delarian and 4 other figures that surprise you, but you recognize. As you're led in and gestured in, you see Malcolm, as I said, and you see 3 of the Sylvan Synod are kind of sat around the sitting area. And another figure is kind of standing a little back with a cup of tea or coffee in hand. You see 3 members of the Sylvan Synod who all kind of turn and recognize you. You can see Elder Elisar, the kind of there's no necessarily like a singular leader of the Synod, but Elisar seemed to be the one who seemed to either hold the most power or did at least the most of the talking. An elder elf who you can see was like kind of graying and silver hair, definitely in the later years. Beside, you see Elder Dameron, who you fought alongside in Auburn.
Love Dameron. Shouts to Dameron.
You see Keen Tar-El, who you briefly chatted with, but who seemed to be kind of in the same league as Elisar, also Elven as these all are. And
Keen, the one that didn't like us?
Yes, Keen was not a fan of you. But by the end of your adventures, as everyone did, they ultimately warmed to you. But they seemed suspicious. But these 3, you gather, they get a quick glance across them. They were in hushed conversation, even in this war room, that quickly ceases as new people are introduced. Mary, you gather very quickly that Malcolm has a dark look.
Do I get any of the last few words with lip reading?
I'd say
or too far away?
Too far away, and it's too dimly lit, and they would have stopped because you were announced. Like someone, like the steward came in and said, like, the Wildcards are here, so they would have stopped before you had a chance to, unfortunately.
Okay.
But with your insight, you gather that you gather something bad has happened. It doesn't seem like this was like everyone's happy chatting about what they're going to have for lunch. Malcolm seems a little despondent. You can tell elders Elisar, Dameron both look. Dameron looks like she's been crying. She looks like at a loss. Elisar and Keen both look like they are more hardened, but that's kind of what you expect. And finally, with them, you see Francis standing kind of at the hearth with the cup of tea or coffee in hand, and he looks up, and you catch him searching through to find Valentine. And Val, he locks eyes immediately with you. Whether you look back at him, he trains his eyes on you. As Malcolm kind of waves you over and stands himself. Everyone, actually, I should say, rises as you guys make your way in down the steps and into the war room.
I begin to move to Francis, but then see Malcolm. I do like a start, and I just stop and kind of respect the honor thing. Can I ask one thing? What are Keen's pronouns? I didn't catch it.
They would be they'd be feminine.
Okay.
But also kind of slightly androgynous. There's no direct pronoun.
Like she, they?
She, they is probably the best one.
Okay.
Malcolm stands, and as you kind of have that brief moment of stutter start, Francis does cross the room, kind of foregoing etiquette, and does like embrace you in a full hug if you allow. Anyways, he attempts to.
I stick my hand out for a handshake, and then realize he's going for the hug, and then I reciprocate this nice hug.
He just kind of embraces and holds with like an extra kind of pulse. And as he kind of pulls away, you can see there's no tears, but a look of almost harrowing and happiness to see you.
Good to see you.
You as well. Glad to see you look so well. All of you, in fact.
Should have seen us 12 hours ago. Didn't look like this.
Likewise.
We saw Mom a couple days ago. She looked good. Hondo's really gunning for your spot, by the way. Just keep that in mind.
Will do. Kind of looks
we can talk about that later.
For a brief second. As Malcolm steps forward and says, "It's wonderful to have you back in the city. I understand you've undergone some doing what you do." And he kind of looks to Alana and says, "Arthur informed us that you have grown in power. That's always good to hear from our allies, especially in such times."
Yeah, and still a lot to get to it, so we need all the help we can get.
Absolutely. It's I know it's difficult what you've undergone. Whether what Arthur has told me is true, I still find it difficult to believe. But you've told me
Same.
stranger things. I understand you are acquainted with the Synod and Francis, obviously. It is, I suppose, mildly fortuitous that you return as they are here, but it does come at a poor moment in our small history. It would seem much of the veil has fallen to the vow.
Fallen to the vow?
It would seem. Perhaps, Elisar, you do the best recounting, as it is your people. And there's a faint kind of doffing of like the head. Is like he takes Malcolm to Elisar, takes the position of like giving him the same respect that would be given to himself in his court, and he defers to an equal. As Elisar looks about and says, I apologize to bring such darkness to your early day, but it has befallen us to be deliverers of such bad news. What Master Delarian says is true. The Scourge of Hell have marched through the Twilight Mountains as they did in the last full moon. The Vanyar's forces were taken by surprise before, and the settlements of Dara and Sildur were lost when last you fought in Casteria. Elder Phaon rallied the remainder of the Vanyar after your victory. With the aid of the Lindaran, they doubled the protections over these underdark passages through the mountain. However, the Knights of Hell were relentless, and 4 nights past, marched through Dara and decimated our forces. There were many losses.
Can I immediately grab Francis and interrupt?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Daisy?
She's okay.
Okay.
There's more, but she's okay. She was there, from what we understand. But as Elisar, please, you'll enlighten us to more. But she and the Lindaran forces who were there fell back, forced to retreat. This has shifted things, but she's safe for now.
Okay. Sorry, Mel.
I understand. I would have a similar reaction if Colton or anyone knew these front lines. And front lines we were not expecting to be fighting on so soon. Perhaps Elisar, a full recount, and then we may continue. Elisar nods once more and says, the Vanya are all but lost. The bulk of the Lindaran, as Master Flurwild alludes to, were forced to retreat with reports of brutes wielding hellfire in odd devices capable of undercutting any resistance, and not of magical nature, as if creating and burning at will. The soldiers themselves appear to be skilled, though not more so than the bladesingers of the Lindaran, but they have grown significantly in number. A stream of black and red pours forth from the mountains, like the earth itself bleeds. Elder Phaon was lost as the western woods burned. The Vow do not come quietly this time. They do not come by the dead of night any longer. They march forth and leave ash and cinder in their wake. The flames reach through to the heart of the Vale. They cut us off from the Valar, striking out across the west, through the Heartwood, to endure itself. Our people lay scattered, forced to flee or burn. Had it not been for Keen, the Synod before you would have met the same ends as Phaon and Laura. He just kind of sits back, slightly defeated. Dameron just quietly kind of doesn't cry, but is just kind of like hunched, wistful. Keen steps forward and gestures to the maps on the table, and you can see there's a map of Vesaria kind of as a whole, similar to one that you hold. But there's kind of almost an exploded version of a look at the Veil that seems relatively recently made, and kind of hastily so. Keen is quickly just kind of overviews and points across, and there's almost a direct line from a place that you know as Celestia's Gate. There's kind of a break in the Twilight Mountains in the south between the Vale and Marrakesh. There's a faint gap between the mountains where the two ranges break. She basically points from that point across to Andorra is a line has been burned. Full line of fire just like burned away, and most of the forest south of that point has been just destroyed, blazed to ash. She points up to the Lindaran, who kind of maintain the northern Twilight Mountains, and kind of points to their like strongholds and says they've kind of retreated there. And those of the Sylvan tribe have retreated along the northern borders, and even have pushed up into like the south of Verdantia, like out of the Vale, fleeing the flame and these forces. There's been no word from the Noldor Enclave thus far. She makes a point of saying that. She finally says, by our accounts, there are a force of 5,000 foot soldiers, mounts, war machines, beasts, and machines and monsters in tow. They seem to march day and night, seeming not to sleep or eat. Perhaps some rest, but they push forth this deadly charge, unhindered.
Can I look at that line? Does that line lead to Castirian?
No. So the line would basically go from Celestia's Gate, that break in the mountains, all the way across to Andorra. Castirian is south of that, significantly. So it almost seems more like they've cut off everything north of Castirian and burned down to Castirian.
They're trying to stop us from moving south. They made a giant moat of hell.
Elisar stands once more and says, our connections to the Valar were severed several days. And though I have faith in my people, logic tells me that they will not stand. They may, most likely, have long been destroyed at this point.
We have a crystal ball thing. Could look in on someone specific.
We never had a point to search a specific figure. If you have an opportunity.
We do, but I'd need a day. But we do know some. Less than a dozen Valar. But if they're the last of them, we might know where they're holding up.
He looks to Keen and says, is this something you can accomplish? She stands and says, I understand the scrying ritual to which I assume you speak. I'm capable as well, but without a particular focus, a person to draw on. It makes it difficult, as you understand. If you have way of giving me that ability, then perhaps I could do it in your stead. Otherwise, getting us information, it's better than nothing.
Celine, just there. But she's probably still in Castirian.
Mm-hmm.
She was the only one left that we knew.
I can hand Keen the crystal ball I feel like, Kyle, you described in the Temple of the Raven Queen objects like a mirror. I wonder if I took anything from there. Does anyone remember taking anything?
You have glasses.
My sunglasses.
Not your
We
new
use
ones, but
glass?
you did have glass from the shattered windows.
The new
I'll
ones
take
were
out-
made from that glass too.
Yeah.
Because I got 2 sets. I got pretty ones and not so pretty ones in case I needed to make something makeshift.
Do you still have some of those raw materials? Do you still have some of the glass?
Yeah, because I didn't end up making anything myself, so I still have the leftover pieces that Allie grabbed.
So yeah, if you want to just like put that near Keen and I can hand her the crystal ball, she has to do it through there as like a focus.
Can't you do it if you just take an hour, Scott?
Yeah, I
I
forgot
guess
it takes an hour. I thought it was like a full day long rest thing, but you're right,
It's
it
just
does
a
take an hour,
short
yeah.
rest.
Maybe at some point today. It doesn't have to be right this second, but
No.
she's not going to know what happens if she's still in Casterian. She's not going to have... Maybe she'd have connections?
This is maybe where they might go. If there's any left. I mean, their tribe is dedicated to the Raven Queen and this exact spot, this exact ritual, so maybe the remains would flock there.
Keen looks to you, like with this gesture on the table. She says, I will certainly try if you wish to give me this chance.
Please, yeah.
Then she'll take the hour to attune to the crystal ball.
Cool.
And try.
We can talk while she does that.
She's gonna like basically take this off to the side and like begin kind of focusing. And you guys don't necessarily go through a ritual, but you can see she goes through like an attunement ritual where she kind of like shuts down to focus on this thing. As she kind of sets off and sets it up by the fire around the table, Malcolm kind of circles. Says, I suppose it makes sense they attempt to push forth their timeline, keep us on our back foot, as it were. We are not prepared. We can't even if we left this moment, we would never make it in time to save anyone. It's multiple weeks to march south. Even with all of Whitethorn College's abilities, we could only get, and yourselves, a small retinue of figures. If they march with 5,000 soldiers, at minimum, whatever beasts and monsters they have. That's not also to speak of Raymond and Egoth in their midst. We'll be marching our soldiers, our amassed forces south. As agreed, this purpose of fighting. We just weren't prepared for this early.
Never are.
I'm not sure if you're aware, having been so recently returned to the city, we have struck an official alliance with the Redmanes of Haverfell.
Yes, we actually did hear that. It's amazing news. Glance at Brawley.
I'm just like,
Again, much to your credit for putting us in such good standing after decades of ill will. Their soldiers are already en route, but they as well will take time. They're sending a significant force south. Champions Guild members, he nods, kind of remembering Alana's connection. He says, a significant force of Champions Guild, as well as Lady Redmane's personal guard. I know not if there's anything we can do at this point.
Is there any word from Colton and... Sorry to interrupt. Is there any word from Colton and Guldrin and their quest west?
They've made their... they've landed in Marrakesh, in Osmet. and have begun preliminary discussions, but nothing concrete. They are still heavily resistant to any form of alliance and breaking out of their shells. They're stuck in old ways. And who are we to judge?
Can I take a little look-see around this room and just make sure it's only us here?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Use you, D&D Beyond. Don't fuck me. Our first roll of the night, I think. And it's great. 30. I rolled a 17 plus 13.
Nice. You look around the room, and you've kind of done a couple of quick glances as some of this information has been passed about. You see nobody beyond. As the door closed, there's no other figures in the room, and as I described earlier, there's no windows, there are no other doorways. There's a single in and out point, which in one hand is a liability, only having one entrance and exit. However, you catch sight of several arcane glyphs and sigils around the room that seem to have protected and warded this room from, you quickly gather, divination and other means of spying.
In the past, you once tried to use like mage hand here, Scott, and it didn't work. Like, this is back when Raymond was around, but I knew there was like a lot of anti-magic shit going on in this room.
There are several rooms in both the college and in the castle that have been heavily protected for obvious reasons.
Malcolm, this place looks pretty stacked. Can I speak? What I would wish to say next, I don't want anyone else to hear aside from the people in this room. So if we can all agree to that, then we're all in good sorts.
Understood. This is, I'm told, one of the safest places in all the kingdom, especially for such secretive language. And present company, I believe, most trustworthy.
We can't fully speak about what we've been doing. Not because we don't trust you, but because we're bound by certain oaths. But we have been getting more powerful, and we have been on a quest, a path to defeating the vow once and for all. The unfortunate part is it's taken us off the board a bit, and stuff like this has happened. I'll look at the Sylvan Synod and be like, it's not lost on me that the Warden of the Fae is supposed to protect the Veil, and I have failed. But what we've been trying to do is the end game to finish this once and for all. And I think they're recognizing that too, which explains their urgency in bringing so many forces of hell. There's going to be a fight soon. 2 to be in fact. 1 in Casterian, which, as insane as it sounds, we might intentionally lose. The important thing is people can't know we're throwing that fight, because the next fight is where we'll get our chance to finish the vow once and for all. And that's where we're going to need everyone.
There are multiple points in that where you see people almost begin to speak, but out of respect and reverence is the wrong word, but respect probably fits best. They hold their tongue and stay reactions. Malcolm almost breaks that when you say intentionally lose, but even he still holds until you finish your thought. And then there's kind of a quick flurry of people almost trying to trip over to respond as Dameron just kind of pushes through the others who stop as other people try and talk. And she kind of stands, looks to you and looks at everyone else quickly, but returns back to you and says, "We understand your purpose, and it's larger than we can grasp. And your connection, much as Laurel's was, beyond this plane. You may wear the Warden, and every action you take to protect the Fae it protects us here as well. You've not failed. The threat is bigger than any one person can overcome. Do not hold that on yourself. She just kind of goes and sits beside Keen. Malcolm, though, nods and says, I concur. You say taken off the board, but you're our key to this victory, collectively. You're the final card that will be played in this game. Without having you as strong and as powerful as you can be, whatever we do now matters not. However, I am concerned at your position of intentionally losing a battle. Is this
To be fair, we don't have the details yet. This is, in a few days we'll know more.
I understand. We are sending soldiers now. We are sending good men and women to fight. If they are to stand and fight for my name, for these people, I want to know that they are fighting a fight worth winning.
That's why we don't want them, I think, at the fight that we're going to intentionally throw. I don't want any innocent blood lost for no direct cause.
So you intend to take this fight to lose alone?
On my conscience, I think we'd have to.
We're not, again, I can't imagine, and I would not live with myself if I was sending people on a literal suicide mission. That is not something, I'm not going to say I speak for all of us, but I think it's something that all of us generally, we couldn't imagine. Like I said, we do not have any details at this point. I can't say for sure. Give us a couple more days. We really need to wrap our heads around this, and maybe we'll come up with something. But I'm with you.
And we'll wait. We still have many weeks of travel. And if they're going to make any fight, they must depart shortly.
Maybe pause in Verdantia first, somewhere with a strong foothold until we have clearer instruction, or potentially a way around that wall of forces. If it's a wall and there's space beyond it, maybe we could try to find a way to get beyond it. I'm not sure.
In truth, we don't know any more specifics of the terrain and their goal beyond carving away the protections of the veil. And I suppose opening line of sight, cutting us off. It's strategic. It's planned. It's a statement.
Let me ask you, who is the wizard of the kingdom right now?
It's the triumvirate of Arthur Locke, Aurora, and Eli Silverthread.
Are
As
they-
voted in by yourselves.
Are they capable of creating a shadow army or clone army?
In truth, I don't know their full strength. Aurora could certainly create some kind of illusionary army, but en masse, and it would hardly hold up to scrutiny, I'm sure. But I am, in truth, the wrong person to ask arcane questions to, Hondo.
The other option, do you have peasants that we could throw in?
Please tell me you're kidding. I smack him on the back of the head.
He jests.
Look, we live in a time of war. People live, people die.
Of course. But that's why we got to figure out where that last stand
For
fight
the
is.
greater good, these peasants have terrible lives. Let's send them to do something meaningful.
I'm going to choose to believe you are in jest. There are people who've chosen to volunteer to put their lives on the line for our kingdom, for my name, for you. They will fight these battles. They will fight on the front lines. But I will not put any innocent citizens in harm's way.
It's up to us to make sure those people, their fight is not in vain.
However, to your point, the ones that make sense, potentially putting a distraction, an illusionary army, or as you say, clone something that is not us. Perhaps that is a solution I can speak to our wizards about.
It's a good idea.
If you have information to go and understand and decipher before this next step, before we find our battle orders, as it were, I'll do my best and see what we can come up with for this alternative. And of course, keep your eyes and ears open for any other plans of such nature. Elisar moves forward at the table as Malcolm is kind of sits back and is just kind of stroking his beard and thinking. Elisar steps up and says, we still have our forces at the ready. The Synod and the Sylvan tribe never been much for fighting, but we have our enclave of capable soldiers. But our best and strongest weapon are the Blade Singers, and they still hold the line along the western front of the Vale. With the Vanyar gone, and the Valar questionable, what say you to the Blade Singers? Should they stay and hold the line? Should they retreat to Verdencia?
What are they holding the line from? What's past where they are? The Twilight Mountains?
Currently, they sit on the western front of the Twilight Mountains and the Vale, basically holding from where Celestia's Gate north. They have been forced to retreat from Eldaven, where the initial encounter with this force of hell was. They've been sitting back and keeping scout along this line of fire and trying their best to cease its expanse. However, it seems to continue to roll without any aid from the Knights of Hell, just consuming the forest slowly but perpetually. In time, if the scourge is not quelled, it could consume the Vale.
Do we know if Galifar's gone?
Last we knew, she still stood. That area of the forest has protections older than any other. Some claim her to be the first tree of the Vale, though the heart of the world was our sanctuary and our home. The Everlight is what gave us light in the Vale. First light.
I had a vision of the Summer Queen And it seems like she's doing her best to hold it, but she's on her last stand to do so. Are they going to get cut off, though? I don't want these blade singers to end up south of this line, stranded. And there goes innocent lives. Trapped, hunted down.
No, I have no intention of sending them south to cross this flame, but more to hold the line as long as they can and keep us abreast of any other forces who make their way through the twilight. Though it seems
I think that is important. I think it is important, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saying they have to slowly fall back. That's okay. We don't want them risking their necks for nothing.
Information is important, but if they're as skilled as you've all said, you're going to need that.
They are easily our most skilled fighters, both in blade and magic.
Yeah, well, then we're going to need them.
Then I'll tell them to hold for now, as long as they can. We'll send word as best we can as we make our move. Just know that they are there at your disposal, should we need to change plans.
Fires burn forests, wildfires spread and destroy and reduce beautiful trees to nothing but cinder and ash. But that is how some forests rejuvenate. And I'm not trying to make light of something here. This is terrible. It's dark and we're losing something sacred, but let's be the rejuvenation. Let's be the seeds that rise from the ash here, and let's take back this forest.
That's exactly what I said.
Hondo said that to me earlier on the way.
It's very wise.
He's okay.
Then their memories will not be in vain.
No. We'll be sure of that.
He looks over to Keen and says, seems she'll still be some time. Perhaps we break for a few moments, catch our breath. He looks to Malcolm for confirmation. Malcolm says, perhaps an early lunch or late breakfast, however you wish to look at it. And then one last look. And then I'm sure you are off to some form of adventure.
Yeah, we're off to somewhere real chilly. We got a story at least to distract you guys over lunch. You ever been to Seafarer's End?
A lot of shaking heads.
Well,
Malcolm calls in a page and basically instructs to get some food and drink gathered, and the table is cleared of these maps, and they're just kind of basically placed up on a wall instead of on the table, and it's kind of retrofitted quickly to become a place to have a quick meal as Dameron comes over to you all and just kind of has a couple of words of kind of seeing you again and happy to see you. And Francis doesn't say much more, but keeps by your side, Val. Just kind of always there. Not really impeding or anything, but...
Is Dina with Dameron, her little Tressum?
You don't see her.
Don't even ask. I can't even handle the answer to that. Oh, God.
Another 20 minutes or so pass as you're able to quickly eat and drink of your fill before Keen is attuned to the crystal ball, kind of makes that announcement and makes her way forward as the pages clear the table, and she sets the crystal ball in the center of the table, and kind of surrounds it with the pieces of the broken glass. She takes your glasses and kind of sets them in front, and then you watch.
Can I rush up to her? Not rush up to her. I'll just go up to her.
Super fast.
I'll like touch the warden and then just like gently put a hand on her shoulder and be like, the Summer Queen's with you. And I'll inspire her.
In like mid like movement to like do something as you say that. And you can feel this faint tension subside ever so slightly. And she gives a nod of thanks. And you see her just kind of quickly cross her hands, and you see she draws just like petals of flowers, and she just begins kind of just like scattering and creating and scattering and creating, and then leaves and does the same, and then does a final like kind of flash, and there's just these faint kind of fireflies that just kind of twinkle and drift around atop the crystal ball as she takes her like seat at the table, looking over the crystal ball, and basically looks up to you and says, I'll say, do you want her to try and look on Celine, or on, can you do a place, or scribe?
I think you can do a place or a person. We just got a little fun with it when we did an item. Let me just check.
The item I know was wrong, but I was down with it for the moment. Scrying. You can see and hear a particular creature you choose. If it's instead of targeting a creature, you can choose a location you've seen before as a target of a spell when you do a censor creature. So you've given basically the pieces from like Casterian. So I'd allow an attempt as you have like the possession of Casterian, but she has not seen Casterian. So basically the modifiers cancel out. So like
She also hasn't seen Celine though, right? Yeah.
No, but like you in theory could, like you've done before, like a minor illusion or something like that. You could give her like a likeness to go with.
Mm-hmm.
So it would give like a little bit of that extra, but it's up to you guys. Both will give different things, and you can do this once with the scry, right?
What do you guys think? Either the island, Casterian itself, Temple of the Raven Queen, or Celine in the hopes that she is there?
I guess in theory, she could also just cast using this as a focus. So let me see how many spells she has while you guys answer that.
Yeah, it is going to give us different things. I mean, Celine's also good at hiding. So if she's not with other people, we're just going to see her. And that's going to let us know that it's just her there. Alternatively, the location, I'm not sure. We don't, to be honest, we don't know what we're trying to get out of this. Whatever doesn't work, we can try the next thing tomorrow. Right?
Why don't we try Casterian and just see if there are any Valar around that temple? Because we know they usually are.
Or any signs of life. I mean,
yeah,
it was pretty beat to shit last we went there. If it's significantly cleaned up.
So the only the key differences between by just searching and using the focus of the pieces of glass will give you a look at the temple, but not necessarily the city or the greater, even like the island possibly, but the city at large you won't see. You'll see the temple and get information from that area. Obviously Celine, you'd see where Celine is, but that could be anywhere, you don't know. So don't think if you're searching using these focuses, you get just temple or Celine, not necessarily the full city.
Mm-hmm.
But Leah is totally right. you guys can do this yourselves at any point in time at another date if you wanted to try. This is just for this particular moment. And technically, she does have a 5th level spell that she could cast herself using this focus. So we could do this.
How did we try and send a message to the Valar? Remember, like, before this happened, we tried to send a message to
By
them?
Raven.
Cool.
I'm failing to remember his name, but Mary would remember it. What's Celine's brother's name?
Quinn.
Quinn sent a message by Raven.
Why don't we try Celine tonight, right now? An actual person, so we're not just having Keen look at an empty space. Let's see where she is.
Then do you want to try and produce like an image
Sure.
of what you remember Celine?
This is Celine, a Valar monk.
Go ahead and make I'm going to call it a performance to see how well you can craft the likeness of Celine.
16 plus 7, 23.
Okay. As you conjure up the memory and the image, you had some pretty dramatic moments with Celine. And those memories stick with you, and you can pull that imagery pretty easily. And you're also a very talented artiste and able to craft it quite well with your minor illusion. So with that kind of image, basically just like a bust, like just kind of the head and shoulders, she kind of gets a good look, focuses on the image, looks down at the amassed elements, and begins the ritual.
She has a D10 if she wants it.
Technically, it's the person who's being scryed on who has to save. So there's no roll by Keen.
Unless
If
she like
wants to use
making
it
a
for
perception
anything
check or something.
in the next 10 minutes.
Exactly.
She can use it.
In theory, it could be used to get more out of it. But for the purposes of you guys seeing things, rather than being just a personal vision, it will come through. And as she settles into the vision, you watch her eyes kind of go white, and she just focuses with her hands out, and you can see the fireflies begin to kind of swirl in and around her hands, these faint kind of light moving fireflies. And the crystal ball itself turns from this kind of purplish crystal to like a pure white cloud. And you can see this faint kind of shifting, moving cloud in and amongst the crystal itself. And she moves her hands to try and shape and move it. And from the crystal itself, projected outwards, filling the table, you see this projected image. And you see cloud, white cloud. And passing through, the cloud begins to turn dark, gray, wisps of smoke kind of intertwining with the white of the cloud. And as the cloud itself turns from white to gray to near black, there's a break, and through you see at a distance, like a high above looking down over Castirian from afar, you can see the outlines of the ruined buildings of the main structure of the city. And in the distance, you can see the island, and you can see the remains of the temple. And all across both, you see figures moving, distant shapes, difficult, too far to make out any kind of distinct information. Smoke kind of flows across, and the vision shifts, and you see from the perspective of kind of rolling across the ground of the island. You can faintly see in the distance, almost like blurred out of focus, you can faintly see the temple. And you can tell no discerning fact from it immediately, but you can get the shape. It's the temple. You can kind of position yourselves, remember, oh yeah, I can see that. I can kind of vaguely guess where I am here. And as you're kind of rolling along the ground, you just see shifting movement of many different pairs of legs and feet just shifting across as this low rolling kind of camera shot moves through along the ground. And the ground itself has turned to baked mud. It is just a mess of mud and just torn ground. It is heavily trodden as the camera rolls forward. And you can just hear the crackle of fire. You can hear and almost smell this putrid scent of burning wood, but then burning flesh and burning hair. And all across you begin to kind of see and focus in that these figures moving are definitely not the lithe, dark-clad Valar monks, but armored soldiers. And you can just see as this camera is kind of shifting through the crowd, there's a group kind of amassed, and you see a splatter on the ground, and you see just something thrown heavy off to the side with a heavy, and then a deep heavy, and then something being heavily stamped into the ground. And as the crowd kind of breaks and parts over top of this kind of crackle of a small bonfire, the vision solidifies and crystallizes on the face of Celine. A ghastly, beheaded, on top of a spike figure. This mouth kind of half contorted in a scream of pain or anger, eyes dead. And you just see a line all around the outside, on the outer ridge of the island. Hundreds. And the vision ends.
I'll just
Like
be
up and
"That's
pacing at this point.
Yeah, I'll just say like, that's enough. That's enough.
You're not alone. Keen is stunned as the vision ends. Dameron just quietly returns back to this kind of half hunched, seated position. Malcolm and Elisar just don't say anything, but just look hard. And Francis long turned away.
I don't know why I thought we'd have a chance to get there before them again. Now they're gonna fortify that whole place. Bless you, Hondo.
Thank you, Gazund.
That whole throw in the fight thing might not be as much of a throw as you think. All right. Well, we have some more research to do. This is only one part of it. Castirian has fallen. It's okay, we'd almost planned on it. Obviously, this is horrific what we just witnessed, but all isn't lost.
I suppose you're right. That's enough for today, I believe. Elisar just kind of stands and looks to you quickly and says, when you have the information you require, I guess we'll meet back here.
Yeah, we have a bit of a date for tomorrow to get it. And then after we get that report, we hear some more info. Hopefully on Lancet calendar. Hopefully on the 10th, we can report back and have some more information.
Then we'll set to meet then. Take these days to, well, not to stir on these thoughts, but to think of coming up on the other side. But let's adjourn for now. Thank you for everything you've done. It only feels like too much to ask to continue to do what you've been doing.
Honestly, you can thank us when it's over, but Hondo has been keeping a tab, and you should have heard the conversation this morning about the debt he expects. If you thought the peasant comment was out of line, that's just a little teaser.
It is a debt that all of Vesaria will pay. Be assured.
All right, Wildcards, let's figure out what we need to do for tomorrow.
Okay. As you guys leave Whitethorn Hall, begin to make your preparations to head to Hell and have a conversation with Mephistopheles. Let's take a quick break.
Oh, Kyle, that vision.
That whole thing was so heartbreaking. That whole last 45 minutes of conversation.
I was like, wait a sec. You think she's dead? Didn't think she was gonna be like that though. Oh my god. Okay, I had to pee so bad. Oh my god.
Let's break. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode. If you like what we're doing here, check out the other videos on our YouTube channel, including D&D tips, discussions, recaps, character interviews, and more. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Hexplorers DnD, or join us in the live chat when new episodes premiere on YouTube each Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching. Now back to the episode. So, as we pick up, you guys, unless you want to make a point to have a conversation with anybody back in that room, you guys can leave Whitethorn Hall, return to your keep, do anything you wish. You're in Arendelle, you can do as you wish. We'll say at this point, it's late afternoon, maybe 2 to 3 in the afternoon. So you can still accomplish plenty of stuff in the day by the time you would get back to your keep. But you do have on the agenda to return to Kenya tomorrow. So what's the plan?
I do today want to put another dimension door in the spell gem, because Mary used that. So at some point today, it could be before bed, I'll do the attune, get rid of attune to something else. Maybe before bed. We already sent a message to Lav and Baldora. Got plenty of good info here. We could just go to Castirian or get ready to for tomorrow, unless there's anything you guys want to do.
You mean Canyon, not Castirian?
Okay, right. Can't do
let's
one of those,
not go there right now.
Horrifying places. Yeah, the lesser of the two. Who knows? Jesus.
At some point today, and Kyle, you can tell me who the right people might be. We're gonna have to get connections. Sorry, the cat is getting in the shit.
I will say, I was editing teases the other day, throwing the tease, Kyle, that you do, and you had done the perfect tease, and then Oliver ruined it by being like, meow. It was so funny. You're just like, God damn it, Oliver.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I would kind of talk to someone to see about starting the process of looking into making arrows or something, or at least just understanding how those like concussion things that were on the wave cutter worked. And if it's some kind of technology we can adapt to something, whether it's for something we could use or just someone else could use.
And I would say your best bet would be to, before leaving Whitethorn Hall, to go to the college and connect with Arthur, Aurora, and or Eli. In this case, Arthur would be your best bet as the evocation specialist.
Like, I have no idea how any of it works, so I know I got Gord to look at it and just help get some extra information, but I just want to I know that'd probably take a while, so.
It would split you from the group for a couple hours, but there's no time limit on anything you guys are doing today, so it'd be super easy for you to make your way over, chat with Arthur for a bit. And I would imagine when you had Hondo and you had Gord, like, explain the specifics of like how that worked and like just as best you could, to like try and focus in on how that's done. You could easily have like taken the notes to him and he could have begun the process, but as he would explain to you, it's going to take basically they have to, because you don't have the like exact sigil work written out. It'll take them you have like the basics of it, so like it'll take them a couple of days just to even decipher how to make the right sigils to like kick that off. So it'll take a couple of days of that, and then they can come back to you with like cost and timelines of how to create an arrow and etc.
Yeah, there's no expectations. It's just, hey, this was cool. Maybe this is something we can do in the future. That's it.
You get a very positive response from Arthur saying like this is something that he is 100% down to do, and he personally can do. It just will take time to see how well he can do it and how quickly. So when you guys come back on the 10th, you could probably have something to start with you.
You're muted.
Like an amateur over here. You can press the button. Anyone else want to do anything? Honda, you want to visit your ladies? Do you want to see what's popping over there? Pull off some steam?
I could always use a visit, yeah.
Check in on your favorites?
Why not? Maybe we'll run into some old friends.
You're going to go down to the brothel?
Sure.
How much do you want to spend?
50 gold is good.
Sure. I mean, 50 gold is very good.
50 gold is, what is that? What's
wait.
50 times $200?
That might be a bit too much. I'm not that. Let's split it in half to 25.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, gold. Sure.
$5,000. You just dropped $5,000.
That's
Our money.
Not a shock.
Really.
All right. 20 gold. That's my final.
Oh my
I
God,
mean, you
we're
can do
talking
it.
down.
It doesn't matter. We're not talking you down. We're just reminding.
You guys
20
got
gold.
cash? 20 gold is still plenty.
Pal, you did
you're
just
looking
pick
for.
up. Let me pull it up. You got Oh, that was Gordo. No, you
Gordon.
pocketed 15 platinum pieces from the Kraken Horde. So you're a big
Those are worth
spender.
10
This one
gold
is dedicated to the Kraken.
This one's
Oh,
called the
God.
Kraken.
You easily work away some of the stress of the last adventure in the ways only Hondo can do.
And
Yep.
is there a chance that I saw Lando in here?
You did not see Lando in here, unfortunately.
Lando,
though-
the Cal Desert / Verdansia based level
Yeah.
2 ranger.
Who has never been on stream.
he's
But was referenced in the chat earlier as the key to all this.
if you were to find Lando, it would most likely be in Verdansia or in the Kel, as those were
A small ditch in the Kel.
his areas of expertise. Unfortunately, he has no reason to be up in Arendelle, but you do manage to spend 20 gold in a good way.
Get it.
Well spent.
Help these girls through Whitethorn College. That is going to end Hondo's day. Unless there's anybody else wants to do anything, we can jump ahead to the next day.
Dimension Door and the Gem.
Done.
That's it.
Okay. A second night's rest in the keep on the outskirts of Arendelle. This time, much more restful, much less messages and dreams of odd, foreboding natures. And just a quiet night. You awaken on the 9th of Hamatiel with a purpose to head to hell.
Just seeing if he said we could just like plane shift there, or what the deal was.
Yeah, so the deal in this case was less, it was less discussed in terms of like how you're going to get here. It's not going to be through Gambino, obviously. But the plan would be plane shift to Cania, because you can't plane shift directly to his tower. If you plane shift to Cania from there, you're probably likely to be contacted in some capacity. May just take some time.
What do you guys think? We could plane shift to... Everyone look at your copious notes, or ask the DM. Let's get the name of Mephistopheles' like right-hand dude.
Hootigen?
What's his name?
Hootigen?
Hootigen? What a guy. Write it down. Hootigen.
And you would know.
The only thing is, it's a moving city, right?
Yeah, the like tower of Mephistopheles' like tower sits on this massive iceberg that is pulled around his lair to keep him constantly moving. So if you basically wanted to plane shift back to the space that you had previously like landed in when you went with Gambino on the ship,
the cave,
that would be your best bet. And then it's just going to be the process of like kind of awaiting the return or the arrival of the tower. And then realistically, you guys can imagine Mephistopheles is a very smart individual, and you guys have a meeting to take with him.
Yeah,
he'll be waiting and looking for you.
Why don't we go
just
there?
Want to double check. We have a way to get there and back, right? We have 2 plane shifts. We have one in Ethereus, and we have one in the Gate Gem.
Yeah, sorry, I got nervous there for a second. I was like,
because we've never done like ourselves there and back in a day before. We've always relied on Gambino.
There and back again, Bilbo Baggins. Yes, we do have 2 ways to do that.
Okay, just
Kyle, could I
checking.
have retroactively attuned the warden to cold? Changed his little.
I mean, at the end of your rest, you can choose which one you want. So
switch the dial from lightning to frost. Yeah, let's go to this cave. Y'all ready for a fun little trip to Winter Hell? Love it.
It's
Never.
as ready as we'll ever be.
Gonna get Ethereus ready. Put a hand on Brawley's shoulder. Everyone link hands or somehow touch each other. Or else you can't come.
Everyone grabs hold. And
do you want Keith to come, Brawley?
Oh, a goat in hell. Oh.
I mean, he can very happily hang out in front of a fire and be fed by literal servants for for 2 hours.
I will. I'll leave him there because I know what'll happen. A goat in hell. They'll try and sacrifice him. So I'm not going to do that.
Or worship him.
He's got company in the keep now with the you've got a couple of crew, and Mira is staying around. So Mira, you got a Pegasus just like hanging out back. So Keith and Mira can like frolic in the snow. And if Fern is going to stay back, the 3 of them can just roll around in the snow, have a grand old time.
Like really fat snow angels.
Oh.
Do you want to take Mira in case you have to fly somewhere?
Taking a celestial being to hell seems like a bad call. I mean, I can... Yeah, I don't know that that's a great idea. If I need her, Kyle, how would that work if she's existing in one spot?
True.
I
mean, I guess I could like dismiss and then call because it's been a new day.
You have to dismiss her before you go, I think, because if she's on a different plane of existence.
In general, I stand by bringing a celestial being to hell. Seems like a bad idea, especially if we're trying to
We've done it before, though.
Nope, we haven't.
I meant with Neavir way back then.
Oh, with
That was a fun
Neavir.
time.
I understand. I forgot. Yeah, if we're trying to, maintain any semblance of secrecy, which I think is we are legally contracted to do, or contractually binded to do, I should leave her here.
That's smart. Okay.
Plus, I mean, she's like literally never been in this city before, in this area before, and it wouldn't hurt for her to get to know all of this.
Our new home.
Just flies around.
Fine, then I'll leave Fern. All three of them can just hang out, have a good time, roll around the snow.
We're going to literal hell, and they're having like a play
The best
date.
time.
Having a proper play day. It's fun.
Yeah. Animal companions stay off.
The companions stay in and around the keep as Aetherius is grasped and you cast plane shift. Go ahead and I'm going to have you roll percentile die.
Cool. Let's see. $46.
Do.
Hate when the DM rolls dice. Oh god.
Grasping hold of Aetherius and taking off in this plane shift spell, making your way through in this gut-wrenching twist, drawn down. You feel like you're being plunged through the earth, and it was marginally cold before. You're still inside your keep when this happened, and it's kept relatively warm as best it can to fight back the winter outside. But as the plane shift takes hold and you appear, you immediately land heavy in 1.5 feet of snow in whiteout blizzard out in the open. You're definitely not in a cavern as you had hoped. In fact, you seem to be standing atop a large kind of rise of snow and ice. You can look out and see, as you did before, this kind of large area where you did see Nargis and the Tower of Mephistopheles kind of take its place. You see that off in the distance, this kind of massive open expanse of water, which is different than the massive open expanse of ice and snow. But the tower is not there, and you're out in the open. It's incredibly fucking cold. Valentine with the armor of cold resistance, and Hondo with your natural with frostbite. You guys are resilient to this immediate cold snap, but Alana, Mary, and Gord, it is immediately bitingly cold. And even for you guys who are resistant, it still sucks.
It's a vacation for me.
What are you guys doing?
We need to get out of this cold. Oh, fuck, I wish Lab was here with her stone shit.
I mean, we don't know where we're going. We don't have a direction. I think I still have it in my pocket. I pull out the Wayfinder Sphere. Is this gonna help?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I can't. Someone else has to do it. I can't. I guess something about distance, right? It needs a spell.
It's
I can
for
do it.
searching for
Hondo.
Object or creature?
Creature. Oh,
Object.
shit. Oh, shit.
Not like tower. What's wrong? What?
It's not going to work if we do it on Mephistopheles, because his tower, it was like a pocket dimension. You have to be on the same plane of existence.
Well, we could search for Hootigen. Hondo, do you want to... I know you're a good man with this. Do you want to take the decanter of endless water and try and sculpt us some sort of ice igloo here?
Of course. I will do that. I will also just suggest if you see any creatures around here, any ice creatures, we could use them for warmth.
How so?
We'll carve them open.
Okay.
And we'll keep warm in them.
Inside.
Yes.
I'd like to remind you that in the past, every time we've killed something that was from hell,
crawled
it
inside it?
melted into glue.
Ooh,
Just gross, black,
I'm just throwing it out
glue-looking
there.
stuff.
Let me get
sludge.
my igloo. I'm doing my igloo.
Sure, okay.
Hondo, go
If you
ahead.
find a giant white... I'm trying to avoid saying Star Wars words.
Well,
if you find a giant
bipedal
creature and
beast.
want to cut it open and sleep beside it, you're welcome to. But I just got uncovered in a bunch of gross shit yesterday, and I'm not so keen to start that process.
Hondo, the second he gets somewhere, wants to get inside a monster. Just
Yeah.
needs to be inside it.
I will follow you into a monster exactly once, and that's already happened.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a. I'm gonna call it just a straight intelligence or
Oh boy.
survival, your choice. Ooh,
What was that?
18 on the die.
And
Nice.
you said intelligence?
Yeah, or survival, your choice. But we rolled pretty high. already.
Intelligence is probably what I will go with. +6.
Just a check, not your save.
Oh.
So what's your intelligence bonus?
Oh,
Don't you, as a
+1.
bard, have the half proficiency in survival?
Well, not in just like a intelligence check. Regardless, you rolled an 18.
Actually,
It's how well can you craft an igloo with a decanter of endless water, and ultimately, not bad. It takes a little bit of time. It takes about 10-15 minutes of just constantly kind of going back and forth, but doing so against the wind. So it catches it, and slowly over time, it just kind of builds this little overhang, and then you kind of get the sides in. And about 15-20 minutes, you've got a decently sizable shelter that you just constantly are just using this water, freezes almost instantly. And you have crafted this kind of pretty well hidden and sustained structure for you guys to at least get away from the wind. It's still just bitterly cold everywhere here. And as you begin to settle down and just kind of keep watch, someone go ahead and throw a perception check for me to try and keep watch on the horizon.
I can do it. Not my best. 18.
Okay. Those first 20 minutes pass and it sucks. And then another 10, 15, 20 minutes as you guys all kind of are settling in and just kind of waiting, unsure exactly what to do here. Val, you do see some creatures kind of below this rise. You're kind of sitting up a little high in this broken kind of path of ice. You can see a pair of figures that look familiar to like ice devils that you faced before. Just out looking around. I'd like everyone to make a stealth check as well.
True.
I have to physically get my dice out of the jar.
Oof. Mine danced on the one. Just danced on it.
Great roll.
Remember when we had pass without a trace all the time? Good times.
Oh shit, my stealth is way better than I remember.
Okay, that's your first one. You have advantage.
is it advantage or an automatic 10?
It's both.
Both.
So I roll
Rogues.
again, or I just take the 10?
Yeah, roll once more. Maybe you get a 20. Or anything
You
above
get
the 10.
11.
Okay, well, slightly better.
Well,
5.
10.
Okay, let's take that 10.
10 and 15, 25.
Jesus.
Call them out.
Brawley's smiling. I want to know what she got.
19.
Good.
Oh, great. I got 22.
17. Apparently I'm very cold and shivering.
Wow, yeah.
By the way, Red
13's
came out
bad for
today.
me.
Red 22. It's a good fit. Taylor Swift all day.
Gord, stealth.
Gordon.
10.
Oh, he rolled. Yes, he rolled on D&D Beyond.
There we go. For the honestly, the surprise of Alana's stealth managing to be
That's
the
right.
swing boat there. The five of you huddle close in this. It's a relatively tight structure that Hondo has constructed, though it's keeping you safe in the cold. It's masking you and giving you that little extra boost to your survivability here against the elements, and also keeping you contained while these ice devils seem to not notice. And Val and those of you with high passive perceptions, you watch as they they're still maybe, you can see them about 60 feet off before the wind and snow kind of obscures them as they kind of blend in. They just cross in front about like on a 30-foot slope down. They cross in front and just keep going. After another 15, 20 minutes, they're long out of sight. And still no sign of the tower or Nargis. I need everyone to make Constitution saving throws.
Fuck.
Hondo and Valentine, you guys make those with advantage.
Yeah. Right, first roll.
The 10.
Okay.
Jesus. Fuck, I should have inspired you.
Roll 9.
Okay, so what's the first one was 12?
Yep. On save is +3, so 15.
Okay, you succeed. Valentine,
21.
succeed. Alana,
17.
succeed. Mary,
Nice.
26.
succeed. And
Oof.
Gord, unfortunately, you just don't like the cold. You
Doesn't
gain a
like it.
point of exhaustion
Fuck.
out of the cold. For the purposes of expediency, another hour passes.
So say, how long are we waiting? Like, we need to do something.
Just spinning Ethereus. I can cast the Wayfinder Sphere and try and cast Look at Creature on him if you want.
By the end of this second hour, you do begin to see sign on the horizon of a dark shape and smoke. But it's a long ways off. It's going to take another hour to get here.
That's good.
But
That's
it's
a good sign
coming
there.
closer. You can see, even cutting through the like significant blizzard, this black spike, the iron spike, and the smoke that drifts off of it, like this massive chimney. You can see it cutting through, but it's going to be a while. You're going to have to sit through another hour at least in this cold.
I say we wait. No one brought any fire or anything like that. Like we don't have
And
any
fire's
wood
gonna
with
melt
us.
our structure. We
Maybe not
don't
in this
have
cold.
the fire machine who always wants to fireball things. That would have been helpful, but she's a little occupied.
I know. She's knee deep in stolen books right now and crude drawings.
Do we have anything
I'm-
in our bag of holding we could set alight?
Probably.
Uh,
But I don't know how long it would last. It wouldn't be good fuel.
well, Gord looks so cold. His little cat ears are frosted.
I have one more idea. For
Mm-hmm.
fuel.
Oh no.
And
We
don't say
burned
kill
down.
Gord.
No, we burned down.
You got any spare dung on you? Some dried dung?
I mean, we all can produce.
Not all of us can produce on command. That is a very specific
that's-
skill
I
that
know
only
what
you are the only person
Hyper
I know.
localized to your system.
I mean, I could get us started if you want, but it's just
No.
a suggestion.
As much as I love the idea of setting your shit on fire in this small igloo, I think I'll pass.
Sure,
It's
smell
just like
lovely.
carbon monoxide, like poisoning
Yeah.
all of us.
That's how I want to go out in the cold hell, asphyxiated by your feces, bird feces.
Do you guys try and light a fire of just regular nature?
I'm just trying to see if we could burn. Like cloaks don't burn.
I mean, anything can burn with a little alcohol in it, but anything burning for a long period of time is the question. I don't have like fire.
Mary.
Well, I mean, okay, I say that, but we should probably have like,
Mary, make a
Kindle.
survival
Yeah.
check for me.
right?
We have a zombie, don't we?
Nope. I can tell you right now that didn't work.
Oh.
That's a 3 total.
Cool.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All I have in my bag is extra goat rations from Keith not accompanying us all the time.
That will not.
Just
burn.
munching on some.
I guess it would be like bundles of like small bits of hay and grass and shit.
Yeah.
I'm just
Like,
imagining
burn
like
fast.
the like
Your fire's
dehydrated bundles of like kale and shit.
Regardless, as you guys don't have anything to burn, everyone make another Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy.
Those of you with the cold resistance have advantage once more.
13.
Yes. 21 for Val, 19 again on the dice.
Ooh,
I also got 21.
Hondo, you do have advantage, so keep that in mind. The two of you succeed. Gord, that's another point of exhaustion, unfortunately.
Fuck, guard.
25.
Success.
Oof.
12.
Hondo, that's a failure, unfortunately. So that is a point of exhaustion to Hondo.
Damn.
Even in this cold, the problem now is not so much your resilience against the cold, but it's like drying out the scales of your form. Like you need like moisture, but the cold is wicking away too much of the moisture, and you're just drying up. Gord, you can feel the fringes of frostbite on the tips of your paws, on all 4 of your limbs. You can feel frostbite is creeping in.
I cast Investiture of Flame.
Oh,
If you want
cool.
to.
You can just melt this igloo, though. This is gonna get weird.
How
long
long
does that last for?
10 minutes.
If you want to.
Could be fun if you just did it outside. You're just fucking standing next to this igloo. Just...
I'm resistant to cold damage.
Well, that's interesting.
If you want to
Do you mind
that,
doing it outside the igloo, just so he doesn't?
Sure, I will,
notice
yeah.
and-
I'll go outside away from everyone.
If you want to do that, I'll give you advantage on that last throw.
Nice.
If you want to make another con.
Come on, baby. Come on.
19.
Okay.
Yes, baby. Yes.
That'll, as you burn your investiture of flame to just try, you can feel the frostbite is building, and it's about to kind of claim some of the tips of your fingers and paws. You just burst into flame. You exit the igloo and burst into flame, and you stave off this round of frostbite and exhaustion. And as you're the only one outside of the igloo, you're the first to notice as immediately a large figure grasps hold of you and puts a hand through the flame, just passing through and grabbing hold of your shoulder, and says, "Douse that fire, boy. This is meant to be a stealth mission." You look up into the face of Hudijin, this dark brown devil figure who seems to have just appeared, though your flame giving him the point at which to go to. It's balancing.
You're welcome, Hudijin.
He looks in past the opening, just breaks away part of the wall. You feel the wind rush through where he breaks the igloo. Just kind of looks around, and there's an immediate kind of start at seeing this devil figure. Ready?
Yeah.
Just brings his hand up and casts, and you all just feel that sudden tightening and surrounded by this kind of greenish flame as you arrive in a much warmer climate inside Mephistopheles' tower.
Oof. Let's brush off snow.
It hits into the ground and just immediately sizzles away. It is much warmer in here, significantly. And you can see it's in a much different state than the other times you've come here before. Not that it was immaculate before, but it seemed to be far more in order. Today, this seems a state of disarray. There are parchment papers still kind of fluttering above the space. You can see there are gems of all sort, and there are scorch marks and claw marks and drags and splatters of blood in multiple spaces all around the office. It's a significant state of disarray, though Mephistopheles looks immaculate. He stands standing from the desk and rising and in a spin of his cloak and in flame and smoke, he teleports directly in front of you. You can see the perfectly coiffed beard, this thin goatee down to the significant point. It's traditionally beautiful, devilish features. Its wry smile and fangs. Right on time. Welcome. Come and see what we've cooked up. As he makes his way back into the room. Gestures you forward with a flick of his hand. Hudijin just kind of sinks back into the shadows.
Is there any view of how recent the disarray looks? The splatters of blood and shit. Is this something that happened? Is this morning, or is this
Make an investigation check.
Uh, 24.
It doesn't look like it's been this morning, but fresh enough that recent, without getting a much better look at where it came from. It's no more than a day or two.
Yeah, okay, so it's a power move of I don't need to clean this shit up. Okay, cool.
You can also tell that specifically for the blood, but the rest of the space has been slowly amassing this array for some time. But the blood seems relatively fresh. Mephistopheles makes his way back to the desk, and with a wave of his hand, you see splayed out across a heavy tome, comes thumping out of nothing, and revealing itself, held in this, similar to how a crystal ball is held in this kind of 3-point holding metal structure. You see the gate gem, this large purple gate gem that you're very familiar with, still sitting. From this, though, where most of the gate gems you find seemingly have this kind of raw gemstone kind of exterior, this one has that as well. However, you can see the energy inside in the same way that you saw it when you first injected the last word into this gem. It's still in there, and you can see it's been fighting to break out. You can see cracks have spiderwebbed across the gate gem. You can see a hole has almost bored its way through, where it's brighter and the light is kind of flickering. This faint kind of green-black energy from within the purple and white, amethyst-like gem. Mephistopheles kind of taps it with a little finger and says, "This thing is a piece of work. It is highly volatile and most deadly, just as we suspected. A couple of interesting things. It can be resisted, though I have a plan for that. More importantly, it requires a dangerous and rare component. I have suggestions for that. And more troubling, potentially, depending on your point of view, it can be deadly to know such forbidden things. To maintain the knowledge of this spell without proper protections will lead you to death in time. And likewise, using the spell could prove deadly to the wielder. I have attempted and successfully used this spell." As he kind of gestures to the array found it most effective. A bit messy. But the last word, he kind of gestures again. In its raw form, still held within the gate gem. And I've made a singular attempt at creating my best approximation of a scroll. Though, as you can see, as he taps the tome, it's rather lengthy. Still useful in the same way as any other scroll. It took significant time and effort to accomplish this. I hope you at least keep that in mind before you go and waste it. I think for the time, I'll be holding on to this, though. And he taps on the gem. And it just kind of fades away. And he just kind of pushes forth the tome. With his hands kind of steepled. Says, what do you think?
You mentioned I'll like put my little finger on the tome. You mentioned it could be resisted, but you had some ideas.
Yes. It can be resisted, as many effects can. Though, I admit, not by many lesser creatures. I mean resisted by our target.
Mm-hmm.
It mostly means you need to use it at the most opportune moment. When you have the perfect opportunity to strike in a vulnerable space. In this instance, in this particular case, I know the perfect moment for such an event. Now,
Yeah.
I say perfect, it's much easier for me to say from afar, from a plan. However, it can be done by the likes of you, I believe. If Asmodeus were to sustain enough damage to his physical form, even his divine form, in a short enough time, he would be forced to withdraw within a magical reverie of my design. A soothing hellfire bath in which he expunges the worst of the effects of his attackers, seals up many of those wounds. There is a catch. Whilst in this state of rejuvenation, he is vulnerable, incapacitated, as the reverie washes over and rejuvenates him. Should he choose, make it believe it's his idea, not ours, to withdraw within this state of reverie, he may be so bold as to stand atop you and let you feel the wrath of that hellfire, or he may pull himself away to a safe space. But regardless, this is the moment you strike while he's incapacitated. His resistances will fall away.
So this isn't something he retreats to back in hell. This is something he does to himself.
Something that he can conjure from his ruby rod.
Okay. That's a good idea.
It's the good news.
How about the more troubling news? Knowledge of the spell leads us to our death thing.
That is troubling. Should any of your, and he kind of looks over and then focuses on you, looks over at Gord, says, either of you be capable of the most powerful magic of an arcane caster's repertoire, you could, gestures to the tome, learn such a spell and keep within your capacity to cast. It is a spell like any other. In this form, as I've crafted it, it could be something that you learn over time. Significant time, but not insurmountable. unfortunately, it will undoubtedly lead to your death. But as mortals, how much time do you really have? So this speeds it up a decade or two. Is that such significance in the grand scheme? I think not. However, if you wish to use this as a once-in-a-lifetime shot, you don't need to learn it. You can use this as any other scroll. But you've got one chance. It's your choice, really.
So long as you have a component.
The component is a little tricky. I should keep one last little tidbit to that. Using it just in general, whether you're proficient in it or not, also potentially deadly to the caster. It's a powerful spell. One capable, as we know, of rending life from any living creature, even one of divine nature, in this case, stripping them of said divine nature. That power comes with both responsibility and curse. Likewise, it's still been pulled from our timeline. As you can see, could see, it corrupts as it's been stricken from our timeline. It corrupts what it touches. It shouldn't exist. In time, this tome, too, will corrupt. I've ensured it will last time enough for our plan to succeed. That one time. But it is not permanent.
How about that whole rare component thing Mary just mentioned?
Yes. This was unforeseen, I admit. Though, in my understanding and experimentation, it does make sense. Before it can be used properly, a particular component is required. It's a particular component that the last word hinges on. You must know the true name of your target. You can't just willy-nilly kill any creature you see. With this to pull them from history, to utterly destroy with no save, no chance for redemption, you must truly know who and what you are fighting. For mortals, this is less concerning. Learning a true name is somewhat of a challenge to some lesser mortals, but for the likes of you, no issue. However, for those of deific proportions, born of ages long past, true names are much harder to come by, and those that can be are most heavily guarded. My suggestions are 4 paths. You may take the path of the devils, delve into Nessus, into the citadel of Mal'Sheen, following the same path as the path that you will eventually head down this final road of ours in the final meeting you'll have with the devil. But before seeking him out in his pit, taking a little pit stop. Inside Mal'Sheen, Asmodeus has stashed away his copy of the Pact Primeval. Now, for those of you who have no idea what that is, the Pact Primeval is the document upon which devil kind and celestial kind operate. It is the rules and the do's and don'ts of how the souls of the mortals are divvied up amongst us below and above. Upon which Asmodeus' true name has been scribed as the King of Hell. Didn't sign it as Asmodeus, he signed it as... we don't know yet. But it is there. It is not an easy task, I mind you. It's heavily guarded, in his tower, in one of the lower vaults. But it's there. Something to consider. Other copies of the Pact Primeval exist in 2 other places. Specifically, not sure, but in Mechanus, as the lawful neutral party of the Divine Arbiters, would likely be found within their lair, and in Mount Celestia as the lawful good party of the Pact, certainly somewhere there. Likewise, heavily guarded. Both of those are equally tricky, and in truth, I'm not sure where to start. But I'll leave that to you. Finally, there is the last path, of which you can choose to, well, you can call it what you will, but I like to think of it as the path of the lady, but you could also think of the path of pain, your choice. If you are familiar with the Outlands and the City of Doors, Sigil it is called, is a place outside of divine constraint, where information and deed of all manner can be traded and bought. This neutral domain in which the Lady of Pain rules. Her age and her story rivals that of even Asmodeus. In truth, she's one of the few figures in all of history whom I know nothing about. That makes her intriguing, but also very deadly and powerful. Keep that in mind. If any other individual were to know this kind of a secret, they would be found there, if not the Lady of Pain herself. Though, that's almost as deadly as... Well. This information comes at a significant cost, of course. I'm willing to aid as best I can while keeping my position in the shadow. But the decision truly does fall to you. And in truth, we do need a decision.
Now? Like you need a decision now? Like looking around everybody?
Well, sooner rather than later, I believe.
Great, so our options are pit stop in at the guy we're trying to murder's personal vault. Option number 2/3, go to Planet of Robots or Mount Celestia and fight things that can't know why we're there. Option, the last one, go to some place called held by someone called the Lady of Pain, who we know absolutely nothing about. They all sound just so inviting. How do we possibly choose?
Haven't we been to the Outlands?
Yeah, we have.
You've not been to
Haven't we been to the City of Doors? No, we haven't been there?
So at the Outlands are all of the gate towns. You guys have made your pit stops in, what's it called? The Hell version is Ribcage, and then you made your way to Plague Mort and through to the Abyss from there. So you guys have been on the rim, and essentially it is like an outer rim of a disc of all the different gate towns that would lead to their respective plains. But at the center, across this vast kind of barren plains, there is a towering spire, and atop this spire is this ringed city that seemingly floats and is seemingly almost impossible to get to. That's Sigil.
Great.
Well, I'm up for a little pain.
A Lady of Pain. That's just
Right up your alley.
Right up on his alley. Admittedly, the first option, they're like going in and going into Asmodeus's personal shit, makes me nervous for lots of reasons, but also in terms of tipping him off.
Yeah.
Yes, stealth and discretion be of utmost importance in that regard. It is one of the only paths in which I can provide my best access, obviously. However, I can be of service in other ways as well. But that is the only one in which I have a path to begin down. The others would be a little bit more important for you to figure out.
Admittedly, like, looking to everyone else, 2 days ago we just tested our secrecy, stealth, and discretion, and it didn't go great.
It did go great. It went really good until the last moment. It went great until that last moment. Hey, right
Until
before
the moment that mattered.
we did a trap. We did a trap, and it worked very successfully. We're like 2 out of 3. And we're still here. Win's a win.
Yeah. We know nothing about Mechanus, us as the wild cards, outside of, did we fight some random robots once
You
in...
guys fought a couple of little Modrons, but you have no knowledge of Mechanus. You do have better knowledge of Mount Celestia, but have never obviously been there. You've fought and engaged with Solars. You've engaged with a Sphinx.
Oh, that Solar that just flat out murdered Valentine.
Yeah,
You repented and brought him back.
Yeah, I know, but he had the murder Valentine spell.
Yeah, he had the boom, you're dead spell.
It wasn't even a spell. It was a cool lombo that kills you.
Oh, great.
Fuck.
That makes me nervous for the reason of we are legally bound to keep this secret, and if we go in and bust into the place of someone else who has been helping us along the way, will we still have that support? Makes me nervous for completely different reasons. And
We'll
then
also point out, heading to Mount Celestia, those creatures have an innate ability to tell when you're lying.
Great.
Keep that under wraps. But just so you know.
I'm in favor of... Sorry, Mary, you keep going.
I was going to say, the last thing makes me nervous because we have zero information about what we're going into. So none of them are great options.
I don't really like the first one. I don't want to tip him off. As much as your aid could help us there, it kind of makes me weary.
Yeah,
Or weary, rather.
That's understandable.
I'm into Mount Celestia a little bit. It's either Celestia or the Path of Pain for me. If you could help us trade or buy this info and knowing how valuable it is to you as well, that might be a good bet. And in Mount Celestia, sure, we can't reveal the very specific reason we're on this path, but we can reveal this is to save the world. We need this info. We need his true name. And if we don't get it, the fate of the world is in the balance. What do you guys think?
It's too fucking easy. Not that it's actually easy, but it just seems like... I don't know. Everyone, what are your thoughts? Hondo, you want to say something?
It won't go as easy as you think, or it won't go to plan.
For the wild cards.
For the wild cards, nothing goes to plan? Is that what you're...
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know why, but my gut is telling me Lady of Pain. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I feel more comforted with that option than the other two, which I don't really feel comfortable with any of them, but for whatever reason, my gut is telling me Lady of Pain. I don't know why.
It is arguably the most neutral of positions.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point.
I mean, we've had success with the Raven Queen, the Grey Lady. What's another lady we could be successful with?
God. Well, can't wait to see you put the moves on this one.
I was just about to say, let's just get ahead of the curve here and say, Hondo, maybe trying to seduce someone named the Lady of Pain is not the best idea. I just want to put that seed in your mind now.
Don't put any seeds in his mind. Let's keep the trout in the sea over here, Hondo.
Mephistopheles says he's just listening and just like looking across you. He reaches over and grabs this goblet, just begins like sipping and just watching.
I'm assuming he's just like enjoying this.
Yeah, more to life.
No, I both like him and I don't like him, and I'm watching him very carefully to try to see. I'm
Can I try
assuming all of
something
this
while
just
we're
amuses him. Like,
Do you want to make an insight check?
Yeah, is there any read on?
Sure. Go ahead. Val, what do you want to try?
I want to try and legend lore the Lady of Pain.
That'll take 10 minutes, I think, to cast. If that's
Does it? I can't remember how long.
I don't think it's an action. I'm pretty sure it's like a 10-minute kind of scry similar thing. You can certainly do that if you want to do that.
Not great for me. It's not bad. It is 23, which against him, I have a feeling isn't very high.
Yeah, it does take 10 minutes.
He is incredibly difficult to read, but you gather 2 pieces of information. He is a little less composed than normal and a little more like, it's almost like he's like a little drunk. Like that's what it kind of reads. Like he's lost that like rigid like business deal and is kind of in this more like relaxed, like that's kind of the best way. The best interpretation you can pull is like he's a little sauced, and he is drinking from this goblet. It doesn't appear to be like liquor or anything like that. It's like silver, like mercury almost. As he's drinking it, you catch sight of this mercury, and you can every now and again you see it like kind of around his lips before he licks it away. He's definitely reveling in like having these strings to just be puppet mastering and just watching like what horrible pain will they choose for me. Like definitely enjoying that, but that's pretty obvious to everybody. That's about it.
I could take 10 minutes, and if you guys want to make small talk with the Lord of the Eighth, I could cast Legend Lore.
Just a quick question. If Mephistopheles knows nothing at a game, Legend Lore is about like common tales told, right?
Not common.
It can be like it can be information of legendary significance, essentially.
I understand. For some reason, I thought it had to be something like you're learning what legends are told, but
not necessarily.
Okay, so that's my misunderstanding.
It can give you the answers that you're seeking.
Okay.
It's a good point though to bring up the fact that like if Mephistopheles doesn't know anything, the guy who's like king shit for knowing stuff, you're not sure what you're going to get out of it, but there's no harm in trying.
It's up to you, Scott.
Do we still have a copy of our Devil Deal contract? Or did it disappear? Like, did he give us one?
You guys would have a copy, I believe.
I am not saying this out loud, but he said something to the effect of when Asmodeus signed a contract, he had to use his true name. And he signed a contract with us.
You saw him sign it as Mephistopheles.
Yeah, I just looked it up here.
I mean, that was, he had to sign a contract with other higher beings using his true name, so I imagine that that only really applies to upper level stuff. I could be wrong. How could I... When I bring up, and I'll do it again if I need to, knowing nothing about the Lady of Pain, and Scott's talking about like, or Valentine's talking about like, oh, well, even Mephistopheles knows nothing, like, how are we gonna blah, blah, blah. Does it look like he's reacting as if like he actually knows nothing? Like, I don't know what benefit he would have from hiding that to us, but like, I know I can't do like a retroactive.
Yeah, you can't
check.
Get more than what you got in the last one.
Okay.
And unfortunately,
I know. I just
really
didn't know how
difficult to read. Yeah.
Yep.
If you press for more information, if you try and just press in a conversation, then maybe you could get another chance at either a secondary check or some other, just in role play, potentially some break in his chink in his armor. But
well, my thought is if Valentine actually gets anything out of this, whether or not it's new information, could be.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
Who's the poor soul who you tested this thing on?
Oh,
Where
so
were they?
in truth, their name escapes me now. But it was one of the retinue. Nobody of particular significance. Someone who irked me on the day.
Woof.
Yeah. Bad luck. But comes with the territory. Honestly, in truth, I think it's better just to be written off from history than to be demoted all the way back to Lemure status in the sticks.
Yeah, that didn't look fun when you did that to that other guy.
No. No, if I had a choice, that's how I'd want to go. So, are you going to take the 10 minutes to sit down in the Legend Lore? Or however long it takes?
I don't know.
It makes
I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like,
Yeah, fine, then I'll just try it. I'll just see it. I'll try it.
Okay. In the 10 minutes, is there anything you guys want to try and do, or do you guys want to just say, like, he's going to do this, we're going to just chill? The rest of you?
I don't know if there's anything else specific. Allie?
No, yeah, I don't think so.
And
I would
as
just be sitting chilling.
you guys just kind of like gather around in the office, he kind of just shoos you away from his desk and says, yes, go about. Just we'll wait for him. And he just kind of sits back and drinks from his goblet.
Keep a fucking eye on him, because that's weird. I don't know. Something's weird about that.
Valentine, as you slip into, with Aetherius in hand, into the visionary state of your legend lore, your vision is taken from you from this disarray office, this weird circumstance, out into the familiar kind of like field of grass in like beneath the summer sun that you've been taken to in this kind of interim between visions. The only extra thing you note is in that brief interlude between shifting from present to this space and then on to the next, where you begin to get the first flashes of imagery to go along with your legend lore, you see a figure in the field of grass, and it's gone. And you're on to the next image as you see before you this massive kind of circular metallic disc, and from it these massive kind of spines and spikes come out. In the middle is this feminine face, like this mask or this massive like metallic statue in reverence to this Lady of Pain. You can see like maybe 10 spines kind of in a frill around the outside of this large framing sphere, almost like a big metallic mantle that'd be worn atop the head and chest. And indeed it is being worn by this large figure who is beneath this mask, passing through a city street. And these robes kind of trail down. You see no sign of skin or element of like identifying marks. As it appears, this Lady of Pain is shown before you, passing through this city street of opulent kind of courtyard stone. You can see a couple of like figures off in the distance kind of bow and back away as she makes her pass. And the kind of narration of Aetherius says that not much is known about the Lady of Pain, as few in the city of Sigil ever truly see her or interact with her. Certainly few have ever spoken to her, and those that she wishes to speak to are hardly ever seen from again. Her history is mired in tale and legend, but too many to suss out truth. Some say that Sigil and the City of Doors is a prison and that she is a demon lord in disguise. Some say she is a third creator god who walked away from creation and made the Outlands beyond the world of the creators, of mortals, and is just entertaining those who have found it in this city, just watching things play out like ants in a terrarium. She's not a deity believed by most, but certainly as powerful as one. She has no temples, she has no worshippers, and those who attempt to are often found flayed. She is neither compassionate nor cruel, unless she has means to be. Most all, she is the ruler of Sigil, the City of Doors, and every one of its doors are known to her. Though there is a world of mortal life happening within this city, she truly is in control. That's about all you get.
I'll wake up from this trance. I feel like we should go see the Lady of Pain.
Anything else
She's
you need
not
to keep in mind? Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not compassionate. She's not cruel. She's the ruler of Sigil. We could try and get an audience with her and see if we can barter, and if the price is too high, we can just see. We might still have time to try another place.
Time is going to be important here. How long it takes to get to any of these places is going to be almost the most important thing.
Well, we've been to the City of Doors, which means we have the...
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
We've been on the plane, but
The
remember
Outlands.
when we were there, the whole reason you all almost lost your souls was because it was going to take us weeks to travel. That was by airship. Like, it was going to take us a really long time until we got a teleportation circle from a small otter friend. Well, my friend is stretching, but if we have to get to the center of that wheel spoke, what I remember correctly, right, Kyle? It was like a big wheel with all the cities around, and this floating city is in the center of it. That could be weeks of travel.
Mephistopheles slams his goblet down on the table and says, I do have a suggestion, if you're willing to.
Of course, if I can do.
Of course. Is it a friend we both know?
No friend. Well, not that we both know. The City of Doors cannot be accessed by magic. It cannot be accessed by the Outlands. You cannot walk to the City of Doors. You have to go through a door. Now,
Do you know where a door is?
in part, I have reason to believe our old friend Mordenkainen kept a tower of doors in the Alabaster Tower. As a planeswalker himself, he liked to frequent many different stops. I would have plenty of reason to believe that he would have reason to make his ventures off to Sigil, if not to maintain a place of business or just sheer ability to procure odd armaments and magical components. It is a trader's paradise, Sigil.
That
Pulls us back to a second element of our deal. More specifically, my plan. It does in part hinge on your acquisition of Azuth's fate, Mordenkainen's staff.
Wasn't aware of that.
I did tell you.
he did tell us. We watched that episode like 2 weeks ago.
I didn't see that episode.
The staff is what's going to let us.
Now, I'll put it out there that, in truth, you can, if you wish, try to accomplish the task at hand without it. I don't recommend it, but you can certainly try.
It was something about that's what's going to let us be in two places at once style thing that we talked about.
Yeah, it's got some. Mephistopheles was not fully sure what the specifics are, but he knew that Mordenkainen was a chronologist, a master of time, and that he utilized his staff to basically kind of control the flow of time for a brief period for himself and some allies. So in theory, it is to be thought that he can utilize it to basically put you in one place and also in another along the same time stream. But the specifics of it you'll have to know if and when you acquire it.
Jesus. So that's good to know.
The two things in one direction just makes this seem more appealing. As much as we know, still next to nothing. I'm a little concerned.
I lay out the plan in full, as agreed, upon your return. Give you everything I have, my plan in full, and you can pick apart where you are unfamiliar, unconfident, however you want to. Then you can make your decisions from there. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
So you're saying you'll tell us the plan after we get the staff?
I'll tell you the plan now, so you may decide what to do.
Please. I'd love to hear that.
I didn't want to.
I'm like in the back, like she's just suppressing all of these sighs at the pageantry and the like. She has a low tolerance for drunk people, and this is like a drunk person who's drunk on his own. I'm the coolest dude ever, and it's just grating.
I'll eat that shit.
I think this is fun and cool. I fucking love when Cal plays this character. It's driving Mary fucking insane slowly.
You get to play him like more exaggerated now too. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, first things first, you have two things to acquire. You have Asmodeus' true name, and you have Azuth's fate. Azuth's fate, as just previously stated, it could be skipped over should you wish, though it does throw a wrench in the following. Once you have Azuth's fate in hand, we know that the fourth seal must break. The vow must believe themselves the victors. When the fourth seal is broken, the gate will reform. The gate must reform for this purpose. The vow will transition to the gate and keep their focus on the gate. On the Nessian side of the gate, which is where it will go, Asmodeus' personal Nessian guard will transport themselves from Malshim across Nessus to their side of the gate, pulling them away from your entry point, making it much more easy to go in and kill the devil. They'll march across the plains while you scoot in behind and deep down into the serpent's pit. Now, if the devil and the vow believe themselves successful, their guard will drop, they will focus elsewhere, and even for the smallest increment. That is all you need for this plan to succeed, for Asmodeus to drop his guard for but a moment, and you will only have but a moment. When the vow has won, the gate will form, hell begins to spill forth. The wildcards you'll use Azuth's fate from the battlefield, as Mordenkainen was able to. Bend time to your will and displace yourselves from this point in time when the gate has formed and their focus is there. And should you plan and execute flawlessly, you will be able to transform along your own timeline to a more advantageous time, a point in your timeline, with all the knowledge that your former selves will continue and the vow will succeed. And from there, you'll be ready to continue down the path to hell. With that done, you travel down into the Serpent's Coil. There's a trench beneath the Devil's Tower of Malshim. You travel down into the core of Nessus itself, and there you find the true form of Asmodeus. For any other form outside of the Serpent's Coil is but a mirage, equally powerful, capable of wielding the ruby rod. If a devil walks through the gate, it is but an avatar, but an illusion. Still very capable of killing you. Keep that in mind. His true form, and very few know this, his true form resides below. He never leaves. Anytime he has ever been outside, he can control up to 10 versions of himself beyond the Serpent's Coil. But his true form cannot leave. Few creatures know the true face of the devil. None have been able to even depict it without losing their minds to madness. Only the oldest gods, the creators, and the first devils have seen this form. All others see his projections. To kill one of his avatars is meaningless. To use the word against any but his true form is folly. Only here in the depths of this pit, the crater in which he fell so long ago, will you be forced to face the devil and do battle. You must strike hard, strike fast, and force him or goad him into utilizing his reverie. And while incapacitated, within range to use the word, rid him of his divine strength, and he becomes no more than mortal. Then you just destroy him. This is the plan.
And we just destroy him.
Oh,
I
that
open the
last part
door.
was said quite cavalierly. And we just destroy the devil.
Look, I open the door. I show you the path. The rest is up to you. This is the last, after this, that we will see one another. This is all we have.
After this moment, or after we do that?
This will be the last moment.
What happens after we kill him? To you?
It's a very big question. So many things. A domain without a king or a god. In truth, I don't know. I'm excited to find out.
But the deal is the material plane's off limits after that, right?
I have no use for the material plane whatsoever. Your souls can continue to filter down here as they have always done and always will. In their
Okay.
due time. I have no reason to rush.
It wasn't exactly a solid, promising answer to that question. I
Have
like
you
your
met
words.
a devil?
Yeah.
Well, it almost makes sense. Go for Zeus' fate, Mordenkainen's tower. From there, hop over, go see the Lady of Pain, watch Hondo try and seduce her,
I would like
have
to
a
see
funeral
that.
for Hondo. See if we can get this name. What incentives can you help us with to get this name?
You have any in mind? I'll do my best to acquire.
I do have another question. In terms of getting us to the Serpent's Coil, what was the name of that city called? I missed it.
Nessus.
The Nessus
Nessus.
is the plane. Nessus is the ninth layer of hell. Malshim is the city tower that is like the domain of Asmodeus and the Nessian Guard and kind of the stop. So it's a tower atop this crater, and then it funnels down into a pit beneath called the Serpent's Coil.
In terms of us getting there, I mean, obviously there will be a door open. Now, going into a door when everyone is exiting a door is...
No. Do not go through the front door. Always go through the
Yeah.
back door.
Yes, that's what I'm asking about.
That will be an option presented to you. If there is any need for these incentives, as you suggest, and any other intriguing bits to help you along the way that I find, when the time is right, I will have them delivered to you. You know by the means of which I will.
And is Gambino...
Oh, yes,
did we
of course. He starts like rifling through his drawers, and he pulls out this like little like silk wrapped pouch about this big, like the size of a baseball. And he slams it down on the table with a heavy clunk, and he kind of sifts through and pulls out a little vial and sets it down and says, yes, of course. Gambino was able to acquire an element, as he points to this kind of hunk, and he kind of pulls back the silk, and you see this kind of hunk of rock, just like big chunk of rock. And he points and says, an element of the ruins of Thaluna, out from beneath the watchful eye of Mythandor, and then points over and says, also some sand and rock from the shores of the Koralar River. These are just beyond the ruins of Thaluna, out of the sight of the city. And as Gambino put it, best to have options, as the Enclave did not take lightly to visitors. So, either should suit your purposes.
Can I get those place names again? The ruins of Thaluna and the
Thaluna?
and the shores of
Thaluna, the ruins of Thaluna, the watchful eye of Mythandor, and the shores of the Koralar River.
Watchful Eyes of Mythandor. Have we heard that before?
You've heard of Mythandor, I believe, but you've only in passing, like you know nothing of it.
It sounds familiar.
Probably because I stole it from something.
Okay.
Is this in the north? Is this what this is all?
This is all.
This is to go to the gate.
Near north of Castirian, right?
The gate. Great.
Yeah, on the southeast coast, like southeast of the Vale, technically northeast of Castirian, off to the side was like almost on the eastern coast was where the gate was supposed to be in the city of Thaluna, overseen by the city of Mythandor.
And that's where this gate's going to open up,
That's what it seems.
presumably. Okay, that's good news to know. All right, guys.
Make sure we label that shit. Put it in Val's bag.
I think that's what you need.
Wondrous. Well, take the tome, take the rock and the sand. If you don't have any immediate requests to aid you along your path with the Lady of Pain, make any requests known to Gambino, and I'll do my best to get them back to you as quick as possible.
Just
I have a
out of
general-
game. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, you do yours because mine might be longer.
I was just gonna
I'm
say
gonna try
out
and
of
stab
game.
him.
Is there anything else we can think of in terms of like, not specifically like asking for a guide, but is there like something once we get there? Like I'm just talking it through in terms of the city itself.
To Mythandor or the other one?
No,
No.
to the city
Sigil?
doors. Sigil.
I feel like he doesn't know a lot there. He just knows that's where she chills. Do you have
What
a
about
contact in the city of doors at all? Anyone we could
You ask of him?
know? Yeah. Is there anyone you know in the city of doors that would give us safe passage, a place of operations?
I know a handful of devils who make their way in and out of the city. However, extending our partnership beyond this little troop makes me a mite unwary. However,
Fine. Oh,
I do know our teensy tiny friend Gambino has made his journey there once or twice. In theory, he may know a little bit.
Maybe we should hit him up after this. Catch up.
Are the residents there similar to many devils in that they have numerous arcane abilities that could potentially see through disguises, anything like that, or
Where do you mean?
in the city doors?
Sigil?
Oh,
Sigil.
there are beings of every kind there. There are beings of angelic and devilish proportions. There are beings of your level. There are beings lesser. There are beings from beyond all planes. There are beings who are just there. It is a Mod Podge of everything from everywhere. One element of note, there is a reason all of these different things can congregate in one space. It is a heavily guarded peace treaty, so to speak. Open warfare and open conflict will invoke the wrath of the lady. Keep that in mind.
Don't stab anything looking towards
Unless you have to.
particular member
And if
of
you
our
do,
party.
make sure it dies. And hide it. Don't be seen.
Just a general question for you.
Hmm.
How have your dealings been with Malborg?
Malbolg?
Yeah.
Few and far between. Why?
The Six Layers trying to deal with us too a couple times. I've had a couple run-ins with them too. I was just
Ooh.
wondering.
Do we have some insider trading information?
No, not in some time. We haven't seen them since we met you.
I think to offer for free as well.
Interesting. In truth, I don't have much reason to deal upwards. I'm already in
Makes
a pretty
sense.
good position.
They tried to fuck with the Feywild. That's pretty much the gist of it.
What were their aims? Perhaps I may be able to suss more out.
They had some beef, it seems, with the Summer Queen herself. One of them felt slighted. So, your classic male aggression revenge play when they get rebuffed.
So fickle,
Yeah, narcissists, right?
of course.
That's about it.
Well, seems a little pretty standard for devils, if you ask me.
Yeah, this was weird because they weren't full devils. Last name like Umbersill.
Intriguing. Half-bloods. Still, nothing has crossed my docket.
Good to know.
I'll keep
All
it
right, gang.
in mind, though.
Yeah. If you hear them making cutesy little footsteps towards the material plane, maybe let us know.
I'll certainly think on it.
You don't want those people trying to get lower.
They can try. So, little roundup. Get the true name.
Mhm.
Get the staff.
Mhm.
I will contact you through a little friend about
Mhm.
your entry into the Nine, little backdoor access. And I'll hop, skip, and a jump and kill the devil. Pretty easy, huh?
Easy.
Best of luck. The time is ticking and the hour of your destiny doth approach. Don't fail. And he just...
Hopefully.
You land in the snow and ice with no sign of the tower in sight.
God, I fucking hate that guy. I hate him
I thought
so
he was
much.
He was kind of neat. I was digging it.
I hate that he's so cool.
Yeah, he was so cool. What do you think that silver stuff was that he was drinking, Hondo?
I definitely want some, I can tell you that.
I bet it was like the souls of the innocents or something. He was just getting wasted off it.
Fucking angel blood or something.
We got to get out of here before Gord freezes up. Hell, before all of us freeze up. Gord, do you mind plane shifting us back with the gate gem apparatus?
Of course.
Where do you take us back to, Gord?
I don't know. Where should we go?
Maybe our house? Maybe our little our manor in Arendelle?
Yes,
Here we go
that's
back
good.
there.
Let's go there.
With the gate gem apparatus, Gord, it is kind of an awkward and odd composition to use this device where you're not typically used to casting through an object, and this one is even more alien than you're accustomed to. But nonetheless, connecting with it, you can feel that energy of conjuration, and with a little activation, all of you disapparate from this plane and reappear in the common room of your keep on the outskirts of Arendelle.
Well, better get some cold weather clothes because we're going tower hunting.
In terms of that adventure, I think we'll pick it up from there next time. I just want to keep a reminder to you guys for what you have to begin that tower hunt. You have a
Key?
an alabaster key that seemed to, as Mephistopheles had kind of suggested, that there were within the alabaster tower, Mordenkainen had a tower of, what do you call it? A tower of doors? Is that what I call it? And within the tower of doors would be you would be able to use this key to probably find that tower of doors, and then from there you'd probably find doors to other places. But more importantly, in that case, you'd find your way into the tower proper. So at the very least, it seems that if you can find a place to connect key to door, you make your way to the tower. Not as easy as it sounds. Alternatively, you do have the ability just to search the north. Big open space. And any other options that you guys can think of in between here and now. You have plenty of opportunities for legend luring and scrying. But we'll find out next time.
We'll need some supplies.
Plenty of supplies to be found. And just in terms of keeping our timeline, you guys return to Kenya. It is the 9th of Hamatil. We'll say, you guys didn't spend super long there, 3 hours, 4 hours. It's just after, it's 2 o'clock on the 9th. You did say you were going to head back on the 10th to have a chat round up with the King and Co. So you can do that if you want to. You don't have to. It's something you had suggested. And then another 17 days and counting.
Oh God.
Easy. Plenty of time.
Just gotta find the true name of the King of Hell, the lost staff of the Archmage, and King Wizard of all wizards. Not die.
Then do a fake fight, make it convincing, not die, then go to hell.
Not
Kill
die.
him.
Not
Convince
die by
him to
using
heal himself.
the last word. Make him use his ability.
Fuck. We have to figure out who's going to use that, or if we're going to try and learn it, or just fucking do a one shot. Hondo, you're skilled enough to learn that thing, right?
Sure.
Easy peasy.
Count on me.
You're probably knee deep in STDs that have taken a lot of time off your life, anyways.
I'm clean.
All right.
Oh, gang.
Tonight. You guys can stew on everything you've learned tonight, and we'll play and figure out what happens next. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as the Wildcards decide and pursue these final threads of adventure before their time runs out. There'll be a new episode up every Tuesday, so stay tuned. But until then, keep exploring.